All right, who's ready for the Dirt Life Show?
Woo-wee! Happy Monday, everybody! Episode 71 of the Dirt Life Show. Thank you guys very much for joining us. We are super, super amped. We are in Rancho Cucamonga, California at Bryant Lambert's studio up here. He does awesome work, and we are sitting down tonight with none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Proctor with Honda Offroad and Proctor Racing Group. So how's it going, Jeff?
It's going great, man. So stoked to be back on the show. It's always a pleasure, and can't wait to talk about all things off-road.
Dude, it's going to be pretty rad. Well, this time we get to do it in person, though, so it's going to be even sicker.
Yeah, this is a pretty sweet setup here with this studio, with the Bryant Lambert studio. So
have you guys done photo shoots here?
We have. You know, all of our photo shoots are usually done here with Bryant Lambert. So anything you've seen on a poster that's in studio, it's taken right here behind us.
Right on. He's got a big, like, you guys can't see it, it's a little off camera, but he's got a big, like, white area where he can just do, like, perfect pictures of trophy trucks, short course trucks. I don't even know what he puts in here. Probably badass cars, all kinds of stuff, huh? So thank you guys very much for joining us on this awesome Monday night. Southern California's got some awesome weather. I know you guys are dealing with some snow in the East Coast and all kinds of different places.
And we're wearing shorts.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
It was 72 degrees today.
I got so many messages today, like, quit being such a wussy. Come out to the snow and play. I'm like, no way, man. I was freezing at KOH.
That's right.
Like I said, thank you guys very much for joining us. We can be reached anytime on our social media platforms at The Dirt Life Show. You can also check out why you're listening to the show tonight, or even afterwards, maybe this week or something. Check out all the good stuff that Honda Offroad has going on, and it's at Honda Offroad Racing, I think.
Yeah, it's at Honda Offroad Racing. Yep. That's our Instagram handle.
Yeah, exactly. And then Jeff's personal one is Proctor_race. You can check that out too. They've got so much good stuff going on, and we just want to thank you guys very much for joining us. Mike's already chiming in saying that KOH was insane. It really was, man. It was cold. It was just hectic. Somebody told me, and maybe Mike can give us a little bit insight, or you can give us a little bit insight, that it's rated like as one of the top cities in population that week that KOH is going on.
Oh, I haven't heard that, but it doesn't surprise me at all.
How many people do you think were out there?
They were talking between 50 and 70,000 people, and that's just
way.
That's just right there on the lake bed, outside of Hammertown, where everybody camps. That doesn't count for those that were camping over on Bessemer Mine Road or any of those other roads out there. So
there was so many people, man. That was the first time I ever been out there, and it was pretty cool. So to get back to the intro, I'm Georgie Hamill, host of the Dirt Life Show. We got a whole bunch of fun stuff planned for you guys tonight. Before we talk about what's going on, I'd like to thank all of our sponsors. We have a mutual sponsor, actually, KMC Wheels.
Great. They've been with me for 7 seasons now. So
super loyal company, right?
Absolutely.
So Ryan Edwards is running the program over there. We'd like to thank him. He's going to be calling in a little bit later tonight, maybe a little bit after 6 o'clock. He's going to talk to us a little bit about his KOH, a little bit about the stuff that you guys did at KOH, some of his other drivers. Man, he had tons of guys out there, so it'll be good to talk with him. The guys at EFX Tires, who you guys used to use last year, they're helping support the show too, so we're really thankful for all their support. Thanks to the guys at Shock Therapy as well. Those guys do amazing stuff. You can use the code DIRTLIFE and save a whole bunch of money on anything that Shock Therapy makes: steering racks, suspension kits, sway bars, all that good stuff. So go over to shocktherapist.com. You can also check out Zollinger Racing products. I know you guys have worked with Zollinger in the past. Zollinger makes amazing billet products. So you guys can use the code DIRTLIFE and save at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. Another sponsor for 2021 is CryoHeat. Have you seen any of that stuff that CryoHeat does? They do the metal treatment.
I haven't had a chance to, but definitely interested in it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Lower rolling resistance is always a good thing, right?
Of course.
It increases durability. So thank you very much, Josh LaHaye, and all the guys over at CryoHeat. They do fantastic work. And you can see over here behind me, I got some of these off-road repair kits from Solderweld. You can use the code DIRTLIFE at solderweld.com and get yourself an off-road repair kit. They do amazing things with those things. They have rods and all kinds of different things inside them to be able to bond metal. You can fix or repair your ride and make sure that you finish your race or your ride on the trail. So thank you guys very, very much for being supporters of the show. We are really, really thankful for all of the guys that have helped the show. We've had the same sponsors pretty much since the beginning. So it's really neat to see the loyalty, like we just talked about, Jeff, with all of these people, and they see the support and we see the support, and thank you very much to those guys because they're helping us grow. It's really cool. It definitely doesn't go unnoticed. We love those guys. All right, so for tonight, we have some pretty cool topics. We're going to talk about Supercross, and Ken Roczen just all of a sudden, he's your Honda teammate, right?
He is.
And all of a sudden, he's just like stepping up his game, like coming back from all those injuries. All those arm surgery. I mean, at one point they told him he was going to lose his arms, and now he's out there. Like, in my opinion, he's a step above the rest of the field, and to be a step above the rest of this type of field or this class of motocross racers these days is phenomenal.
I think you have a couple components that are playing in for Ken Roczen having such a great season so far. One, I think it was a great decision for him to take the outdoor season off and just press reset in his life. He brought a son into the world. He was able to be a part of that and not on the road traveling, and just kind of recover from all of his injuries without getting into all the details of what his body's been through. So I think by him pushing reset and not racing the outdoors, I think that played a big factor. He came into the 2021 Supercross season really more prepared than ever.
Yep.
And then two, anyone who's ridden moto knows or talked to anybody in Supercross, when you're transitioning from a previous model that you felt comfortable on to the all new 2021 CRF 450, that's a scary time for any rider, because who knows if the geometry is going to work for you.
Exactly.
And how much development you're going to have to do to get that bike race ready. And Ken's been talking about since the beginning of the season that he loves the new 2021 all new 450.
So you think like when it just gels, it gels?
Yeah, I mean he's one with the bike, and that's where things start to really work for a Supercross rider, and he's in that flow right now.
It really does seem like he is. As well as me, like lately, and especially the last probably 2 or 3 years, the start is so crucial, and he's knocking those things out like nobody's business.
Well, I mean, of course he's got Honda power, but
says the Honda guy.
Aside from the Honda power on the whole shot, it takes a lot of skill.
Absolutely.
And I know Ken works really, really hard, like all those guys do at their starts, because they know if they can get out front, that they're way ahead when everything starts to kind of fall into place.
So just like kind of low key, I've always been a huge Ken Roczen fan, and then over the past like 2 or 3 years that he's faced all this adversity, it's just elevated my level of fanship for him, dude. He's just one of those people who has a very like-minded personality to the never give up attitude that I'd like to strive for as well. So it really makes me happy to see him doing good. We're going to have Jessy Nelson calling in a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit because he's good buddies with Ken Roczen, as you are.
I wish Jessy was in studio today. You got to love Jessy Nelson.
Dude.
I can't wait to hear from him. The guy's hilarious and just so fun to be around.
He really is.
Just an overall great human. So
he is. So it'll be cool to talk with him a little bit. We have a couple more topics that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how your guys' 2020 was with Honda, the debut year of the Talons, and obviously you have the Ridgeline program as well. So we're going to talk about the differences between 2020 and the changes for 2021 that you got with that program. And I'd like to see if we could get a little bit of information from you and maybe Bryant Lambert as well, since we're in his studio, about operating a professional race team, the marketing behind it, the production behind it, and all of the things that go into it. I know that we had some fan questions come in during the week when we promoted the show, and they were really interested in stuff like that. So maybe we can get a little bit behind the scenes with some of these guys. And Ryan Edwards, like I said, he's going to call in, talk about his KOH. And I guess this is kind of on the same lines that what I was talking about operating a professional race team. But I would like to see, one question that I have is how organizations or race teams pivot when you have I don't want to say faced with adversity, but you get faced with a year like 2020, right? And all of a sudden you have to make different moves for the organization. You still have to please your sponsors. We talked about a couple episodes ago with some younger race drivers, and they were really concerned with how they were going to get more sponsorships and keep their current sponsors going for the next years, because they felt like they didn't pay what they needed to their sponsors in 2020. So I kind of want to see, how you guys go about doing something like that. So we definitely have a lot of good stuff to talk about. It'll be interesting to see. But since Supercross is so fresh, that's the first subject that I wanted to talk about. In about 5 minutes or so, Jesse's going to call in. Can you see anything currently? The first 3 races were just wild. We got the party animal starting over here. The first 3 races were just pretty wild over there in Houston. But then what was the difference in Ken Roczen's attitude to be able to come in and sweep Indy?
I think he found his flow. I mean, the start of the season is always tough, and you always hear the Supercross riders always talk about, hey, I just need to survive Anaheim 1. I need to survive the first couple races and come out without an injury, and then they can kind of settle into their own. And I really think that that's what Ken was doing.
Yeah.
Is he was just kind of settling into that new bike, getting comfortable at race speed, and I honestly don't think, with the flow that he has right now, I think he's unstoppable. I mean, as much as Eli Tomac is so strong on that Kawasaki, I don't think there's any stopping Ken Roczen right now.
So, and I can kind of I'm trying to read between the lines a little bit here, but being a race driver yourself or a rider yourself, you can almost see it in his body language, right? Or in his attitude, the flow that you're talking about, because you can feel that sometimes when you're behind the wheel too.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to describe, but when you're in that mental state of mind, it's
like that zone, right?
Yeah, it's really a mental state more than it is physical state. And when you're in that zone, it's really hard for your competitor to shake you.
Yeah.
You're just tunnel vision. Your body's feeling good. You're one on that bike or with that race car. And it's pretty hard to be stopped.
I totally love that feeling, man. I've only had that feeling a few times, at least racing 2 wheels. One was that, and this is actually a question that we have for you too. What was one of your most memorable races? But one of my most memorable races was way, way back when. Sean Hamlin was a competitor of mine. He was a factory racer as well, and we were racing at Glen Helen, and I fell down in the first turn, and we were racing mini bikes at the time, and I was probably half a lap, 3/4 of a lap down, but by the end of the race, I was half a bike length from passing Sean at the end, and it was one of the most memorable races. I mean, I raced professional for a year and a half, 2 years, and that still beat some of those things. So that's the zone that you were talking about, right? You've been in that position a bunch of times, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think you get to that point where it's kind of mind over matter, and you make up that decision mentally of where you want to be. And you got to that point where you saw him at the end of the race. You know how much ground you covered to get there. And I think you celebrated this silent victory. And I think that's for anyone who's competitive, right?
God, if you could just bottle that up, dude.
I know. How do you find that flow? It's actually a real thing.
It really is. Lena just said hello from Rimrock, Arizona. So thank you guys very much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Hello out there in Arizona.
Yeah, chime in too and ask Jeff any questions that you want. He's an open book when it comes to the Honda Offroad stuff. He's a really, really good dude on and off the track. It's nice to be able to see it. One of the things that I just experienced with Jeff actually was how much he actually cares about people. So without getting too in depth, him and I went on a bicycle ride about a month ago, I think it was, and it was pretty cool because we got to talk about a lot of fun stuff. I remember talking about going up the hill and talking with you about a lot of guys that do business meetings, they go to the golf course, right? Well, we go dirt bike track, bicycle rides, all that stuff to have fun.
Yeah, it was actually really enjoyable. We had a full-on conversation for 45 minutes climbing 3,500 vertical feet on our road bikes. And you know what? You don't feel the pain when you're in a conversation, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for waiting up for me. We're going so slow. But yeah, on the way down, I got to experience something that I didn't necessarily want to experience, but it was how much you care about people because I took a digger, and man, it was just like you came to life as far as taking care of people. You were like, all right, I got to call the ambulance. We got to make sure George is okay, take care of him. It was really cool to see, not necessarily because I wanted to, but a different side of the way that you operate in life. So it was neat to be able to experience that.
Well, I think that's just human instinct. I don't think I did anything in particular. Obviously I cared about you and we got you to the hospital and you're here on the show. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, George, I mean, it was kind of scary there for a little bit, but glad you're okay.
Yeah, thanks, man. And thanks for being able to be flexible to redo the show.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, George had a crash on our road bikes. We were up Glendora Mountain Road, descending at about 35 miles an hour. And he slid across the asphalt about 30 feet and came to a stop and broke his clavicle, his scapula, 4 ribs, quite a bit of road rash. And
bruised lung, that's been a little hard too.
Bruised lung, and was in the hospital for a day and a half, 2 days. And yeah, it wasn't fun there. But now he's 4 weeks post-crash and he's back on the show. And
yeah.
I think George is an example of those guys that are just mind over matter. You've been able to overcome so many physical ailments in your life, and it's really a testament to how mentally strong you are.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. Well, one of these days when we do, we'll have to get you on the show for your personal interview, I guess you could say, and we're going to talk about some of that stuff as well, because that mind over matter thing I think is very valuable. In fact, we got a bunch of comments coming in, but I think is very valuable to our audience because they really like those types of go get 'em stories, and that's why I'm such a huge fan of Ken Roczen, is because he's very much like that as well. Let's see here. So some of the comments are coming in. Jeff, how was the transition to 40s at KOH?
Hey, John, thanks for the question. Honestly, there's zero comparison. The 40s were incredible. I mean, you can ask any of the guys on my team when we first went out testing the 40s in the truck. I had a permagrin on my face. It just handles the bumps so much better. The G outs, you can carry so much speed. You can get on top of the whoops a lot better.
Did it make a difference with, because you're operating on it with a V6 engine, does it make a difference in the way that the power is delivered to the ground?
Yeah, so initially we thought we were going to have to re-gear the rear end, and not necessarily tuning of the engine, but it turns out that Honda engine has plenty of bottom end torque to turn those 40s, so that was really a non-issue. So
nice.
we didn't even change our rear gearing. The only thing we had to change was up travel with our body, so we had to re-engineer the entire body. A little bit of shock tuning.
I got to say that new body looks sick, though.
Yeah, we're pretty stoked on it. That's the all-new 2021 Ridgeline body that will be in dealerships this month.
Really?
So within the next couple weeks, actually.
Oh, dang. What good timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys should go check that out, actually. Check out the way that those 40s look on that truck and the new body. Like I said, it's at Honda Offroad Racing on Instagram, or you can check them out on Facebook. And they just launched a new website too, right?
We did.
Yeah.
We launched it right before KOH.
Does that got some pictures and stuff of the new truck?
It does, yeah.
Sweet. I'm going to have to go check that bad boy out.
Yeah, there's no comparison between a 37 and a 40. That additional 3 inches of tire makes a world of a difference.
Do you guys run different pressures and stuff now? Or like what's the details on it that's better?
I think the terrain can often dictate pressures.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, because you got to individualize it for
I
the
don't
race.
know if I feel comfortable talking about kind of our tire strategy, but
no, I didn't mean the strategy. I was just saying compared to the 37s.
Yeah. So what I will say is that we had 0 flats at KOH with this all-new Razor MT from Maxxis. 0 flats on the rockiest course you can possibly imagine. And there's a lot of racers out there that were on project tires. Now, keep in mind, we were on a DOT tire.
Yeah.
They were on project tires and had 3 and 4 flats out there. So I think it's a testament to this brand new Maxxis tire that we're running.
It's pretty cool to see. And you guys ran them on the Talons too, right?
We did, yeah. Different tire. That's a rock-specific tire, the Rockzilla.
Are you going to use a different tire for the desert program? Okay, cool. So we got some comments coming in and questions coming in as well. But Craig says hi from Oregon. Love the show. John says, oh, hello from the frozen tundra. See, that's exactly what we were talking about. It's some of the audience that's way out there in the frozen parts.
Hey, John, sorry you're so cold. We're sitting here in shorts in Southern California.
Yeah, exactly. He does come out to Arizona, though. He's chimed in before and shown some pictures of Arizona. Yeah, thanks, Craig. Put me in a little bubble, dude. Right?
Hey, Craig. Good to see you.
One of the things, oh yeah, you know Craig, don't you?
Know Craig, yeah.
So Craig's a fellow Honda Talon rider too.
Yeah, he's a talent enthusiast up there in Oregon.
So we had a couple comments come in, I think actually from your Honda Offroad page, that said, out of the showroom, how does the Honda Talon perform? Before you answer that, though, I want to give my opinion.
Okay.
That DCT is off the chain good. Like, it is so smooth. To me, it feels like a perfect clutch, right? Like when you have a hydraulic clutch on a dirt bike that just operates perfectly, that's what it feels like. Because I've ridden the blue side-by-sides before, and they don't feel quite the same as far as smoothness and stuff goes. It's much more of a, raunchy is a bad word, but that's the only word. Like, it's a really notchy, like, bad feel. So when I drove the DCT, that was like a selling point for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like it is a selling point. The way that I kind of, without being disrespectful to any of the other brands, I mean, when you're looking at a Honda, you're looking at an automobile manufacturer versus snowmobile manufacturers or dirt bike specific. So you take an automobile manufacturer, they've taken everything that they've learned over the 50 years that they've been in business, and they've put it into this side-by-side.
Right.
Yes, it was 10 years late to market, but the reason why it was 10 years is they wanted to make sure that they got it right.
Yeah.
And so when you take the direct drive that doesn't have a belt, you take the DCT transmission, the dual clutch setup, and it has paddle shifting. It's incredible to drive. It's extremely smooth, no clutch issues whatsoever. It's just so fun to drive and rip around the desert in.
It's pretty cool. Well, and the reliability too. To play devil's advocate though, since they were late to market, do you think that they missed out on anything? Was there anything that they overlooked?
You know, I think they missed out on sales because the side-by-side market grew incredibly fast.
Yeah, exponentially over those years, right?
Yeah, it really did since the days of the Yamaha Rhino. But I don't think that they've missed anything, to be honest with you. We drive these race cars really, really hard with a lot of stock components, and we're not seeing failures driving them at race speeds.
Well, actually, that's a good transition. And the next question is when is Honda going to have a production model turbo? But that's actually not a bad question. And the reason I say that is because the side-by-side market, through that exponential growth over the past years, hasn't necessarily become a growth of quality and I don't know how you want to say this, but like a progressive growth. It's become a horsepower growth. Mm-hmm. So everybody thinks that the more power that they come out with, the better it's going to be for sales. And that's the way they've grown it. It's kind of like NASCAR, Chevy versus Ford, right? And that's not necessarily the way the industries grow.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to be hated for saying this on your show right now. We might get some interesting comments here, but when you talk to Honda internally and you ask them, why not the turbo? They'll say, hey, all of our data suggested that turbo wasn't the big seller in the marketplace. It's very strong on the West Coast, but as soon as you get off the West Coast, you go Midwest, you go East, you go South, they're in trail systems that don't really favor the horsepower. What favors the horsepower? It's going to be your West Coast, your Glamis, your wide open desert, and those types of things.
Well, I can get along with that in almost a more personal, realistic answer because I've never had it. I live on the West Coast, and we're in shorts right now, right? Like, I've never, ever put a turbo on any vehicle that I've owned, ever. And I've never had a problem. Well, I have said this many times on the show. I could never, as a professional race car driver, drive the car as fast as it can drive. Ever. I could never push it to the limit 100%. So why would I ever need to put a turbo on it in Glamis?
Well, I think that there's guys that can use the horsepower in Glamis.
Drag guys?
But the reality is, and this is going to be that point where I think I might get a little bit of harassment online, is that when you look at the data, the average consumer can't handle that power. And when it comes back to Honda being a very conservative company, they don't want that liability of a 210 horsepower Can-Am that exists out there, because the average consumer that's going to buy it can't handle that horsepower. Now, what's that 210 horsepower for? Most of these people on the show are going to say, I can use it all day long. But the reality is that's for bragging around the campfire at night with your buddies to say, hey, look I got the turbo version. It's
the Robbie Gordons of the campsite.
Exactly. It's got 210 horsepower. But the reality is you take the average NA car, and it's sufficient for the majority of the population
That's what I
to
always
go
thought.
out and have fun as individuals or with their families in a four-seater.
I'm not trying to agree with you just because you're talking and you're sitting here next to me on the show. Like, I've always said that. Like, I've genuinely always said that, is like, I don't need a turbo. My car is plenty fast. And even in stock form, in the last Yamaha YXZs that I had, or the Polaris Razor that I had, were plenty fast for me. Like, on the trails, I've never gone faster in any car than a stock, normally aspirated Polaris four-seater.
And I'm not trying to sell the NA version just because that's what Honda has. I mean, think of it like this. The faster you go in a side-by-side, the more maintenance that side-by-side is going to require. Everything else wears out. The more horsepower you have, you're wearing out components a lot faster. So it's just more expensive to maintain for the average consumer.
Yeah, exactly.
So overall cost of ownership, the Honda Talon's the way to go.
Well, I think that, so to answer Stefano's question, I think that when is Honda going to come out with a turbo standard? I think that's probably going to be some sort of option, maybe. Maybe they'll come out with a turbo kit or something, or an aftermarket company will come out with one that they can just put on after they buy it from the dealership. And then
the turbo kit actually exists now.
Okay.
Jackson Racing, actually a local company here, has worked closely with Honda to develop a kit. And will Honda do it in the future? I don't have the answers to that. That's kind of the $1 million question, and I just don't want to overspeak at this time.
Well, one of the dudes that's going to be able to answer some of these questions for us that may not be a Honda guy, a Polaris guy, is Jessy Nelson. What's up, Jesse? How are you, dude?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Sorry, I had a little technical difficulties.
What's going on, man? How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. I've been unloading for the last few days, and it's been a mission.
How many days were you out at KOH? Because, Jeff, you were out there for what?
8 days.
Oh, Jesus, dude. I was out there for 1 day.
Yeah.
I was out there a while.
So how many days were you out there, Jess?
From Wednesday till the following Saturday.
Oh, my gosh, man. Dude, it probably felt so good to take a shower.
Oh, you want to hear us even? Well, we stayed in the motorhome. My parents brought their RV out.
Yeah, I went and said hi to your mom when you were stuck up in the rocks.
Yeah, I was up there for a good 5 hours. But on the third day of camping, we blew out our water pump, so that was eventful. And then taking showers with a gallon of water was pretty nice, really refreshing, especially when it was like 40 degrees outside. So that was part of the week as well. And I was out there early because I didn't have a chance to go pre-run at all, and I didn't know or even hit the rocks before the race. So I thought, all right, let's get out there early. I'll bring a good amount of parts. Like we don't have a pre-run car because we decided to race 2 months before Hammers officially kicked off.
Dude, talk about throwing yourself into the fire.
Yeah, just a little more of a beast than I thought. But people just kept asking me, why don't you race Hammers? Why don't you race Hammers? And finally I just got sick of it, and I was like, fine, we're going to race it. HDR gave us the long travel kit for my Pro XP, and I already had a Car 1 built cage that I knew would pass tech, and just it came to the point where it was like, well, car's like 50% there, might as well just give it the other 50. And signed up, and we went away. And during this whole time, I was also building a works car because I'm racing the Works Series in RS1. So I had my hands full with that, and not to mention getting extra sponsors on board, along with suit design, new helmet deal, helmet design, figuring out what kind of helmets I need, figuring out that I even needed, a neck restraint. I've never even ran one before. I don't even know what they work.
Dude, I'm telling you, operating a race program is not as easy as it is.
It's not. I'm sitting here listening. I'm not laughing at Jesse. I'm sitting here thinking, gosh, this is my world in a nutshell.
Yeah, 100%.
Is that Proctor?
Yeah, Proctor's with us, bud.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, this guy sounds familiar.
Yeah, we were just talking last night. You remember me?
Oh yeah.
Hey, so I know that your KOH was good, but I want to mainly talk about Ken Roczen because we were just talking about him. But dude, you qualified
You want to talk about me?
No, I want to finish up the conversation, but you qualified. You qualified for almost all day. You were in sixth. Then you got like the power hour. You got pushed back to right around what 15th, 20th area. And dude,
18th or 19th. I think 19th.
Honestly, I was sitting behind the computer watching, and I was like floored that you did so well. I was like, hell yes, Jessy is doing so awesome.
Yeah, he was ripping out there for sure.
That's killer.
I mean, dude, I was shocked because we only did one lap around the course because we were having suspension issues, and then I blew out all my suspension mounting points for all my A-arms, and then my shock tower was blown out, all these different things. We didn't have time to fix it. We worked on the car for literally 6 days, and the last day before the race, my dad and my friend Colby they didn't even go to sleep. They stayed up all night working on it, and they took it straight to staging without even going to sleep.
Dude, that's crazy.
I went to bed at 11 and woke up at like 5:45, hopped in my truck with the heater on, and drove down to staging.
That's nuts,
and we didn't even have radio. That was my first time running a radio in the race too.
That's a testament. That's a testament to your driving abilities, dude.
Dude, it was a rough one. And then we didn't have a fuel cell. So then we go first lap. We're like, all right, we're gonna have to pit every single one because we're not even sure how far this thing can go. And it's a turbo. It's probably gonna eat some fuel. And we're like 2 miles out from our pit, and we're like, and our friend Colby's on the radio. And he's like, I think I'm gonna make it, but I don't know. And he was pulling in as we're passing through the pit, and we're like, oh great. And he's like, hey, just conserve fuel. And I'm like, all right. First section, I'm wide open, and the next thing you know, I see drop a couple bars, and then I'm halfway through the desert loop. I'm doing 40 miles an hour on the straightaways, just cruising, and we're like, then we have like 1 bar left, and we still got like 12 or 15 miles to go. And I come down this hill, I'm like, very easy on the throttle, but you're coming down a hill, you need to hit the brakes. Hit the brakes, car dies at the bottom of the hill.
Oh.
It starts up and then starts sputtering for the next 10 miles.
The pickup's probably in the back of the tank. Yeah,
sloshing in the tank. Oh,
dude.
Made it to the pit, and then fueled up, pinned it to main pit, and then got fuel. My dump can wasn't working because mine got switched with Sarah Price's because it was like the same fuel, same style can, everything. So she had a different size fill hose, and then I had hers, and it just wasn't working. They said they dumped like 4 gallons on the tarp.
Oh.
And then we had to swap the tire, and then with not even a mile into that next lap, blew a tire because it just was like, oh man, that was a slow pit. We need to pin it. But the whole time our goal was just to finish. But for me, I'm just like, oh, I got so much more. It's so hard to like restrain yourself and just cruise, because we're running stock axles, stock tie rods, stock.
Especially being moto guy, like moto guy's always wide open.
Dude, I wanted to go so fast, but I just couldn't. So we're just cruising pretty much, and then blew another tire. Then we blew an axle. Then we blew 2 axles.
Man.
Then we blew 2 tie rods, and that was the nail in the coffin.
Jessy, you forgot the part where the Honda racer got in front of you. This is the discussion we were having last night.
Oh, really?
Is that one of my guys got in front of him and
I wasn't gonna bring it up.
No. I think it's important to share. We had a very professional discussion last night, and it was, hey, my guy came up behind him. Jessy was nice enough to let my guy go, and then my guy held him up. And I guess my guy bumped him a little bit, and so we were talking about it. So anyway, the offer still stands, Jessy. I'm gonna cover your rear bumper.
Absolutely not. It's just a little scratched up. Good thing we had like an 1/8 of an inch thick number plate that my friend made in his metal shop the night before the race, so it was strong enough. But no, we were just coming down this little hill, and it was just a squirrely little section. We were getting bumped, and we're like, dude, this guy was just.
I feel like all of KOH is squirrely, dude.
and we passed him around like a pretty sketchy alternative line, gapped him, and then we just paused for a second. We just got bash. As we're like locked the brakes up, about to go down this sketchy cliff that was like a 90-degree turn to like another one.
The whole race is sketchy.
It seems like it.
Hey, I don't think I've ever had that much fun in a razor or any race probably, other than my first time at Glamis in the Turbo S. That was
Really?
one of the funnest things. But I had the whole time, dude. We were laughing. We were blasting music. We were like, me and my co-driver Tristan, we were freaking talking and laughing, and we were just making jokes, and yeah, it was fun. I wish we had an onboard cam to like hear everything we were talking about.
Dude, you got to put the GoPro, like hook up the GoPro with the audio that's coming through your speakers and stuff, so everybody's like listening to music with you guys, just jamming.
Dude, my radio wasn't even bolted. It was stuffed in my glove box and wrapped with a bunch of towels so it wouldn't go anywhere.
Dude.
That's how bad it was.
So I think this is a great point, though, Jesse, and that is it's such a unique, exciting event for side-by-sides that anyone can come out and participate.
Yeah.
I mean, from the professional racer to the privateer and everything in between. Jesse's far from a privateer, but the point is everyone can come out there and have a lot of fun. Make sure that your car passes tech and just get it to the finish line.
How many guys were out there this year? 120 or something like that?
I had heard at one point it was 114 entries.
Holy smokes, dude.
So it's the biggest class at KOH.
Amazing event too. Like the fact that they could do that in the middle of a pandemic was amazing, and the way they ran it, and it was so much fun. I loved it. And back to the tech thing, that took us 5.5 hours to pass tech, but we made it through.
Well, they got to make sure that you have all the safety items.
Yeah, because those rocks are gnarly. I saw a few videos of dudes just hitting rocks. Man, it was kind of scary.
A lot of rollovers.
Yeah. It looks crazy. Hey, so we got a couple comments that came in. I think some of these are for you, Jeff. Hello from the 520. What's up, Ramon? Tony McBee said, hey, George and Jeff, looking forward to racing a Talon. It's talking about KOH with Ultra 4 this year. Congrats on all the KOH finishes. It sounds like he might be giving you a call then.
Yeah, Tony, let us know what we can do to support your Honda Talon efforts in the Ultra 4. That'd be fun.
That's actually one of the questions that we had come in, too, is do you guys have any race support stuff for other teams?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So for those of you that are familiar with the Red Rider Support Club that Honda has, anyone who races moto knows that they can go to any of the big tracks, Loretta Lynn's, and get Honda support as an amateur. What we're trying to do...
I think Jessy actually did some of that.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is represent the Red Rider Support Club for Talons that are racing. So any event that our team is participating in, we kind of put our arm around other Talon racers and offer intellectual support. We can offer parts. We can offer engineering, setup, advice, whatever they want. And it's just something that we offer that's free of charge to anyone that's racing a Talon, and we try to be there for anybody that wants to race a Talon.
How do they line that up? Like, do you have to do that before the races, or do you just come up to you at the races?
They can come up to us at the races. They can, send us an email from our website prior to. A lot of people message us on Instagram and Facebook, to be honest with you. And we've helped people all throughout the year. Even an interesting story at KOH, one of the Talon racers drove all the way from Colorado.
Really?
And he was driving to the front gate to give someone a pass, and his dog was riding shotgun in his race car. And his dog hit the shift gate, and he was going 30 miles an hour, and it hit his Talon into reverse and blew the dog ears right off the reverse gear. And he came to our pit. And I hope this isn't offensive to him. He came to our pit in tears. He had spent the last 12 months of the year preparing this car, and he thought his race was over.
Dude, I would have been crying too.
We sent one of our guys back to our shop 2 hours away, brought up an old engine, and gave it to him and our manual, the shop manual, and he learned from the shop manual how to take apart basically the transfer case. He got the rear gear out, fixed his car, and he went and qualified.
Dude, that's awesome that you were able to help him out, man. So, Tony, to answer your question, dude, what an awesome story, right, Jess?
No, that's amazing. And Honda's always done incredible things like that, and their manual is unreal. My dad's a framer, had no experience with motors ever, got one of those service manuals, and fully rebuilt a 4-stroke engine from the ground up.
Dang,
dude. Cases, gears, shift fork, everything. And it was, he's like, it's super easy. I just went through the whole manual. And that's so cool that they do stuff like that. And all the support and everything like that they have going on. That's fantastic. fantastic. But one question I have for you, Proctor, you said you have all this other support. Do you guys offer emotional support?
Jesse needs it after his KOH.
I didn't think we did until KOH, but we do now. Considering this gentleman from Colorado that we worked with, he needed emotional support. He came to us in tears that his race was over after he was preparing for 12 months. So, yes, we put our arm around him. We fed him dinner. We pumped him up. We told him he was going to do great, and he qualified. He started the race. He ended up timing out, but he had the time of his life, and he is just telling everybody about his KOH experience on social media.
Oh, that's rad. So
yes,
Jeff Proctor, aka Dr. Phil.
Yeah. So even if you're racing your Polaris Turbo S, Jesse, we are available for you anytime.
For hugs and hamburgers, Jesse.
Oh, perfect.
Hey, so I tried to come find you in a Talon, actually, the KMC Talon that Ryan Edwards let me drive around. I tried to come back to your pits after I kind of thought you were going to be back at the pits. And, dude, I got lost because there was so many people out there. I didn't know how to find camp because I couldn't get through all the commotion. It was in the dark, and there was like you said, it's 60, 70,000 people. I had absolutely no idea how to get back to the camp. So that's when I got a little bit more experience with the DCT, just cruising around.
Nice. Whatever it takes.
I know, right? So yeah, thanks for the pacing at KOH is one of the hardest parts. What's that? What does he mean by pace? Oh, going behind the other drivers, like in bottlenecks and different things like that? How do they do the timing for that stuff?
Your time starts once you leave the start line. So, for me, I think I understand what Tony's talking about. It's a game of patience because sometimes a driver will be stuck in a bottleneck and he doesn't exercise patience and he'll take the wrong line and ultimately it'll lead to a rollover, or he'll break his car, or he'll get stuck worse. Sometimes you just have to wait it out. And a lot of these drivers, what they'll do is they'll send their navigator out to help the cars in front of them get unstuck
so
that
they
can
get
through.
That makes sense.
There's actually a lot of teamwork that takes place in the rocks to get all these cars through these bottlenecks.
Did you guys have to do that, Jesse?
No, really, no. My co-driver never got out.
Who was riding with you, Jesse?
Tristan Twisselman.
Oh, Tristan, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, we didn't have to. We made it almost. We were just right at the end of Jack Norris. Everything else was pretty solid. But yeah, I mean, like you were saying though, I mean, slower is sometimes faster. I mean, if you go to go around an alternative line or something and you're making a big mistake, that's going to cost you way more. Bust an axle, you break a carrier, something like that.
Or even if you flip over and you can't get back on your four wheels or whatever. That patience thing is so hard for motocross racers, though, man. So we got a couple other people chiming in. Caleb chimed in, said hello from Eastern North Carolina. So cool to see Bailey Cole in a factory Honda. Was his a turbo? No, I think it was normally aspirated, right?
Yeah, both of our factory Honda vehicles were naturally aspirated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they were basically coming off the production floor with some beefed up mods, and that was about it, right?
Yeah, we had some KOH specific mods for them to get through the rocks, but fairly stock.
How many Talons were at KOH? I saw a bunch.
There was a lot.
There was 4 that raced in the UTV race, but there was a lot out in the pits and around camp and everything.
Well, I always think that's so cool, man. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for the info. No problem. Just pacing yourself to finish, especially in traffic. Well, I think that's what Jeff was talking about, like that patience is like a virtue literally at KOH, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys. Everybody talked about how the desert loop was first and then the rock loop was second. And there's a lot of guys that go out and break their cars in the desert loop and never even see the rocks. And so I think that's what Tony's talking about is just finding the right pace where you're not abusing your car so you have car left by the time you get to the rocks.
Exactly. So did you have fun overall, Jesse, or what's the plan for next year?
I had an absolute blast. Like I said before, that was probably one of the coolest races and things I've ever done. And that was just a pre-run for us. Now we learned a lot. We have a lot of it figured out. I didn't even know about, tagging your car or any of that stuff. So
I don't even know what is that?
A lot.
What is it?
It's just they have to check it over a chassis. It's
like a chassis
brakes.
tag.
Oh, tag. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, chassis tag. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I never knew about any of that stuff. So big learning event for us. So I think of it as just a pre-run pretty much now. And I learned so much, and like, we have so much information going into it. We didn't really have anybody that's done it really helping us out. I mean, the most help I think that I personally got, other than from, my partners and people that helped me out, like Polaris and 40 Parts and people like that, were actually like the Miller brothers. Cody and Hunter helped me out with like any question I had. They, from rock straps to bolts to strengthening this or skid plates or what different bumpers, like they helped me out so much. Like any question, they're always like right there. Like,
and I think that's what's great about this community is that Jesse's getting help from a factory Can-Am team.
Yep.
And he's Polaris and we're Honda. I mean, everybody kind of works together, and it's just a really cool atmosphere. Anyone listening to this show, you have a side-by-side, highly, highly recommend that you come out and race with Jessy and my team next year. It's a blast.
And even if you can't go to KOH, go to some of the works races and go to some of the like local races and stuff, because it's like the community and the family atmosphere is super, super cool. All right, Jessy. So
I love it. It's totally different than motocross.
Dude, way different.
People, and I absolutely love it.
Hey, so speaking of motocross, first of all, congratulations on your KOH efforts, man. Like, I was looking at your times and checking it all out, and I was flat out impressed, dude. So keep it rolling for next year. Hey, so we were going to talk about Ken Roczen a little bit. So he's one of your homies, and Jeff and I were talking about it a little bit at the beginning of the show. What the heck is changed with Kenny that, like, all of a sudden he's just at, like, another level? I mean, the field is so stacked, but he's, like, on top of that field.
I think just being healthy. Honestly, that's it. Like, he's always been the man, He's
just
always been fast. He's always had all the right tools and equipment to do it, and especially talent. And the guy works harder than anybody I've ever seen. And I think just, getting that break that he needed. I thought at first I was like, man, take outdoors off. That's kind of gnarly. But I guess if he's not, he wasn't him riding. You could tell. Like, some weekends he'd be solid, other weekends he'd be struggling. And I don't think fitness is really the question with him. I think it was, this whole time it was kind of something physical, sickness wise. It wasn't really like lack of trying or lack of effort or his program.
Dude, I'm just a huge Ken Roczen fan, so I'm pumped that he's like that he's doing so well. Hey, so on a sour note, what do you think about Vince Freeze, dude?
I think it's just wrong place, wrong time. I don't know. It's
wrong place, wrong time at like pretty much every race.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It happens to everybody. Sometimes things happen. Some people just hit with that bad luck, I guess. It's hard because if you look at the video and you kind of look at the face of that triple that they're going into, like, he had to drift over to like that cleaner line because the face of that triple just looks so screwed up. And I just don't think he was anticipating Barsha being right there, because there was somebody right in front of Vince. And I think he was just caught in a battle and didn't really know what was going on.
So not that you're asking for my 2 cents, George, but I mean,
I'm definitely asking.
I've looked at the video of these incidences, and you can't necessarily, because who else got in it?
Dean Wilson.
Dean Wilson, and then now Vince Freeze. And if you look at it, the flaggers aren't really doing that great of a job to let these guys know ahead of time. They're really not. The flag comes out at the very last minute, and by that time, he's already selected his line on the triple. So it's too late by that point.
Do you put more people on the track then?
I don't think you put more people on the you're talking about riders or flaggers?
Flaggers.
No, I think the flaggers need to be educated that when you have that lead train coming through the pack, that those guys need to be very animated out in front and telling those riders, hey, you've got the lead train right on your tail. Get out of the way.
They were actually quite a bit like in the, I don't know, like 2010 area. Well, actually, Jessy, when you first started racing pro, the flaggers were off the chain good, weren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. That's another thing I was just about to say, and I was like, man, I remember the blue flags were like, they would wave like 3 of them when we were coming through the pack. Like, I never had issues with lappers. I mean, there were tons of lappers. the field is deep. I think maybe, like Jeff was saying, just having them more educated or having them be actual fans to where they're watching what's going on. They know who's on the lead lap. They know who's coming through the pack, and they know the speed that they're coming. Like, they're catching these guys at a very exponential rate. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're lapping only 19th and 20th. They're lapping all the way up into like 10th sometimes.
Dude, they are.
Put a headset on those guys and have like a guy in the sky telling them, like, but they kind of just seem clueless in the middle of the track.
It would be a huge help. I'm glad that you brought that up because I was wondering, like, I was actually, as a fan, I was kind of putting fault on the riders, but if you actually take it away and talk about the organizational portion of it, that's a huge point.
Yeah.
Well,
or even if they had a blinking light on their bar for everybody that qualifies for the main, you get this light, and somebody up in the stands or something is watching who's going where, and they'll have like a blinking light or something to signify or signal them to what's going on.
Dude, you put a little beeper inside the helmet.
Yeah, it's just like the tracker in our off-road cars.
Yeah.
You can notify the car in front of you that you're coming up behind them.
Yeah,
that tracker and that KOH was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen or used before. That was
I saw
so
those,
rad.
but during Lucas, we had the same kind of thing. We had a light system that we had to pay attention to. None of us ever looked at it because you have to be so focused. Like, I would think that the dirt bike racing, it would be way, way gnarlier because you have to be so intent on what you're doing and where your mind's at. But maybe, what about like a beeper in your helmet?
I think that would be a question for Jesse. I think he'd be able to notice something flashing on his bar or something.
Maybe.
Oh, you'd see it very quickly. Just like the old Hondas when they had that. I haven't looked at the new ones, but like 2012, 13 or whatever, they would throw, if your kill switch was blinking, and had like a check engine light. And one of my bikes, it ran perfect always, but it always had that light that would just blink and have issues. I don't know why, but I would notice it every corner, every jump. I'd see that thing.
I remember that. So actually, we had a comment come in, said, is Ultra 4 stepping in and taking over the Lucas Oil races? So that's what the, Caleb, thanks for commenting in on that. That's what the word on the street is. And actually, Caleb, we have our buddy that used to work at Lucas. His name is Alex Streiler. He's going to be on the show next Monday. We're actually going to talk about a lot of this transition that Lucas and the short course series are going to do for the West Coast. So pay attention to the show next Monday. It'll be a little bit better. Myself, I don't know if Jeff or Jesse has any of the information, but I don't know any of the clarity on that. I only know that what has been posted on social media and things like that. So the show will be a good thing to watch because we'll get a lot more information at that time.
Yeah, I think what I know so far is that it's the American Short Course Series.
Yep.
Looks like Dave Cole, who owns Ultra 4 Racing.
Great American Short Course Series. Gas!
That's right. And it's going to be paired up with Ultra 4. So you'll see an event at KOH next year out on the lake bed. Mm-hmm. That's going to be rad because it's going to have cool. Every discipline of off-road motorsports together in one event. It's going to be huge. So you'll have from trophy truck racers to short course racers to rock racers.
Dude, Jesse, you better start getting ready now. Put a short course car together, put a KOH car together, and put your new 2022 Works car together. Like, just start crushing it.
We got you,
Hey,
Jesse.
that's already been the talk because we've already been talking about starting on a 2022 Hammers car, just because we're so busy racing and everything. Like, I got home Saturday night and then I leave Thursday morning for Works in Peoria, Arizona, and where I live it's 9 hours away.
Are you still there, bud? So we had
could you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, you said it was 9 hours away. That's a deep drive.
Yeah, so I mean, we're only at home for a couple days, go through everything. I still haven't prepped my car from the last Works race because as soon as I got home, I was packing up and leaving for Hammers.
With a little gap. Yeah, we had John Lewis actually comment in. He said that the flaggers used to be a lot, now they're barely waving the flag at all, but they used to be a lot more aggressive at waving the flags and stuff. Yeah, the flaggers aren't under race control.
Now they should be under race control.
Yeah, they definitely should be. Who knows? I mean, us having this little janky show, it's not going to make a change in any of the Supercross and Feld stuff, but it's a good point to bring up because it's confusing for all of the people that are listening to the show and for all of us, right? Because we think, what the hell is happening when the guy in second place crashes out when he's doing so well, and you automatically blame the dude that's in front of him, right? But I like having these discussions because it brings a whole new perspective on it.
Absolutely.
All right, Jesse.
Yeah, they're in their own race, so it's hard to tell what's going on. Maybe hook up a handheld radio to every flagger and be like, hey, you need to start waving that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like the leaders are coming up.
Then it might be commotion.
So, I don't know, man. I just want to keep watching. Like, I'm pretty stoked that Supercross is on 3 nights a week because I just get to watch my boy Kenny doing so well, man. Are you pumped for him, Jesse?
I'm so happy for him. I mean, I don't want to say it's about time. I mean, he's always been the guy, you know what I mean? But he's just been laying it down. He's been so consistent, so strong, and like he looks like he's back to his old self. And I think that bike is definitely making it a little bit easier for him to do his job as well.
Dude, one of my buddies just had one of the Works editions show up in Tucson, Arizona. It just finally showed up to the dealership. He picked it up and rode it on Saturday, and he's sending me pictures and stuff, dude. It does look like next level. And he's like, dude, I had to take it easy because it was giving me confidence that I didn't think I could really go that fast. He thought it was super, super good. Have you seen one or got to ride one yet?
You know, I haven't. I haven't ridden moto in probably 3 or 4 years, just because.
Just looking at it, though, dude.
I'm worried if I ride moto, I'll come away with a broken leg because I can't just go throw a leg over a bike and putt around on a track.
Yeah, exactly. But just looking at it, dude, it looks so. Just sitting there on the stand looks fast.
Oh yeah,
it looks good.
Badass, sure.
Hey, so what's the next race for you, Jesse? You said it was Works.
Works this weekend, so I think practice or qualifying or something like that is on Friday. I think it's just practice, actually. The first round we were supposed to be qualifying, so the second round I'm sitting third in points.
Nice.
And hopefully I do the right prep this time again and everything goes well. Got some issues that we didn't really get to fix. I brought my RS1 out to Hammers, and that whole time I was out there I was like, oh, I can get some time to fix some things, do a little tweaking here and there, maybe touch a couple things.
It just collected dust.
No time. There was not a single night where we didn't go to bed before 1:30 a.m.
Dude, that's crazy. Dude, like hearing these stories, man, more kudos to you. I mean, you and I texted and called each other while you were at Hammers and stuff like that, but hearing the stories of all the, I don't want to say if it's adversity, but all the stuff that you went through during the week, man, I think it's super cool that you did so well.
Dude, we were making suspension brackets while we were at the race with a grinder and a cutoff wheel.
Was this Colby Wemple?
What was that?
Was it Colby Wemple?
No. My friend Colby. Gosh, it's so hard to say his last name. He's German, and it's I'm not even going to butcher his last name. It's so
German Colby.
Yeah, German Colby.
Yeah.
Well,
he had a welder. He had some scrap. He freaking helped us so much, and I wouldn't even been able to race if it wasn't for him.
Dude, I'm stoked that you did. I'm stoked that you're doing so well, man. And not to mention, dude, the hustle that you have for this side-by-side racing is pretty incredible. I'm glad that you have all the support and are loving it so much. It's super, super cool.
Oh, I freaking live, breathe it, dude. I don't know why. I just ran with it. I love it. It's been really cool. I think this year I'm more focused on race stuff, and I just want to see what I can do. And then this year is going to set me up for next year because let's be honest, I've only raced a handful of times. I've been driving them, but I haven't really raced a lot. I probably got 12 races under my belt, 10, and just going to see what I can do. I want to do it for myself, you know?
Dude, you're doing awesome, man. And it's nice to see the I don't know, the go get 'em attitude. Like, it's a breath of fresh air for me to see that because there's so many people that aren't as excited as Jesse. So when I see smile on his face when he comes off the track and stuff, it's pretty bitchin'.
Yeah, he's got an incredible amount of tenacity and drive and mental fortitude. So it's always inspiring to see a guy like Jesse out there at the track.
Hey, so when you come back down to Southern California, dude, you got to show me the taco spots in Lake Elsinore.
Tacos de Elsinore. I know. You got to ask Brian Carr. He knows all the local spots around there.
That's where it is. All right. Well, we'll ask Brian Carr when you come down next time. All right, homie. Well, hey, we'll let you get back to it because you're busy getting your work scrap ready
for this Friday.
I'm actually just about to hop in the truck. I got my KOH car in the back of the trailer right now, and I'm going down to San Luis Obispo to go to Tristan's house, and we're gonna start tearing that car apart a little bit. And then I got some wheels for my works car we got to mount tonight.
All right, dude. Well,
sounds like he's got a full plate.
Yeah, we'll let you go, dude. Get some sleep. Yeah. Get some sleep at some point, homie.
No rest for the wicked, dog.
All right, thanks, Jesse. We'll see you later, bud.
All right, see you guys. Thank you.
Man, like you can just tell he's amped.
Yeah,
like
he's
it's
pumped.
super, super cool. Were your drivers Bailey Cole and Jordan Pellegrino? They did KOH for you. How amped were they? Did they have the same kind of level of stoke?
They're both stoked on rock racing for sure. I mean, that was the reason why we hired them for that specific race. But polar opposite personalities. But they both were tacticians in the rocks and did an incredible job for us. We were really happy to have them on our team.
So we're going to go to commercial break in a few minutes here. But when you say that they were tacticians in the rocks, like the first thing that I thought of was where they qualified. Do you remember the positions that they qualified in?
Yes. So keep in mind, we qualified with NA cars against a lot of turbos. So Bailey qualified in 49th and Jordan a little blunder, but I'll be honest with everybody here on the show. He elected to qualify in low gear because he thought he was going to have problems going up that rock section in qualifying. And he didn't want to have to take the time to switch it from high gear from the short course section to low. And he said, I can go in low 50 miles an hour. Well, it turns out that cost him at least 10 seconds in his qualifying time.
Oh, wow.
Off of Bailey's time. So that put him in 69th.
That was just a bad decision. That's a learning experience that you're just going to have to deal with for next year, right?
Yeah, and I'll take responsibility for it. I kind of let him choose that. He wanted to race in low. I allowed it, and I should have known over my better judgment that he needed to qualify in high.
Yeah, but that's one of those things, though. I mean, and as a team principal, like you have to give a little bit of level of support to the driver, right?
Yeah, and that's the kind of leader I am. I want to support the driver making the decision because I want the driver to be confident in what they're driving and how they're setting up their race.
So the reason that I said that was because I wanted to lay down the groundwork and understand those cars both finished basically 50% higher than where they qualified at, which means that they passed a lot of people on course, they made up a lot of time on course, and they avoided a lot of the incidents like bottlenecks and things like we were talking about on course, which shows what kind of mental capacity that those drivers had.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially why we selected them. We knew they were going to be great in the rocks. Bailey and Jordan both spend a lot of their time out in Johnson Valley. They know the area. They know all the rock sections. They took delivery of pre-runner Talons right after Christmas, so they had started getting comfortable in the Talons before New Year's, and spent, Bailey over New Year's put over 300 rock miles on a pre-runner Talon over New Year's. So that's the level of homework that they were doing preparing for this race.
Dude, that's awesome.
And I can tell you that Bailey started in 49th. At the end of his desert loop, he had already passed up into 37th, and then ultimately he finished in 17th. So that just shows you how quickly he was able to make passes through different selections of lines in the rocks to get around all those issues.
So when people see all this stuff on social media, I mean, everybody likes to win a race or get on the podium, right? But when people see all this stuff on social media, and me being a racer, I have no desire to go to KOH, right? Like it doesn't make any difference to me whether I race that as a bucket list item or anything like that. But when I was out there and I understood the level of commitment that you have to make, how hard the race is, how durable the cars have to be, how much planning has to go into it, just like the stuff Jessy was saying. Just to finish the race is an amazing feat by itself. Just to finish. I mean, just to go around the course and have a day and not even race it would be amazing if you don't break your car and be able to like just go on the loop. And so when I was looking at it, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, cool. Like, you get mid-pack, right on, whatever. But then when I left, I was like, oh my God, to be able to finish the race is amazing. To be able to pass people is even better. Mm-hmm. And to be able to say that you got through all of these things like what you're talking about with your drivers is phenomenal.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, as Honda's factory effort, we show up to win. And we show up and we prepare to win. So I don't want to discount our desire to win races and podium and that sort of thing. But this is one of those unique one-off races where, hey, we're pretty happy that the car is in one piece and we're at the finish line and we're celebrating as a team.
Yeah, that's super cool. Well, man, I don't know. Like I left that race with a whole different respect for anybody that can actually complete it. So it was pretty cool. Amanda McAbee commented in and said KOH has so much to offer even for the VW buggy class. Yeah, that's true. And then to follow that up, Caleb Barber said that means that now with the advent of the short course or the short course being a part of KOH now, there's going to be another race for all the racers to enter during that week. So you know how some people entered 3 different types of races. Well, now they got a short course race that they can enter too. It's awesome, but
well, in the VW VUG Class 11, it was a huge hit this year. I can't even tell you how many people are already looking for a Class 11 to buy so that they can race next year at KOH in the VW Bug class. I mean, those guys, I think the winner got 10 grand for winning the VW Bug class.
10 grand to punish his kidneys?
Yeah, well, I think it was worth it for most of the people that participated.
Man, that is super cool. I didn't get to watch the VW race. Did you see any of it?
I saw a little bit of it, yeah, and it was a huge hit with the fans, and everybody was just really enthusiastic.
What they do the desert loop or something?
It was kind of an abbreviated short course desert loop kind of qualifying course.
All right. Actually, we're not going to be able to go to commercial break until we have Ryan Edwards on because he's going to call in a couple minutes. It will be pretty cool to see that we have that short course race at KOH if they do end up doing it. It's going to be a lot of time. I mean, you guys were out there for 7 or 8 days. Some people were out there for 2 weeks or even more. That's going to add another day or 2 onto it.
I don't even want to begin to think about it. I'm going to need a trailer just for water for the motorhome. And I mean, we're dry camping for 8 days.
That's pretty crazy, right?
Our holding tanks aren't big enough for, more.
They have those guys that come around, though, and they can fill you up, right?
We did. We had our holding tanks pumped twice.
That's crazy. Yeah, so we got Ryan Edwards calling in. What's up, Ryan? How are you, bud?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing awesome, man. I got Jeff Proctor and me on the line. So, man, KOH was pretty fun, huh?
What's up, Rhino?
Dude, hey, what's up, Jeff? Yeah, KOH was wild, man.
Dude, it really was wild. Thank you for rescuing me after I got lost, too. Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, FYI, Jeff, we're going to need a GPS for George in the Honda.
We need a tracking device on George, period.
Yeah, just to figure out where I'm at, dude.
We're going to buy him a new watch that has tracking device in it.
Dude. That was funny. I actually had I saw some guys and I was like, "Hey, do your guys' cell phones work?" And I called Ryan and while I was waiting to give me a soda. I felt like
such yeah, and the guy was telling me you were completely the other way.
That's the family atmosphere we were talking about.
Dude, it's pretty rad though. Hey,
yeah, exactly.
So, you had a pretty interesting KOH, man. What was going on out there for KMC?
Man, well, we last minute decided not to do a booth and go full bore on, just activating with our racers and doing some media and stuff. And it fared well for me. I ended up getting in a spec truck racing against Jeff. And that was like the most last minute thing I've ever been involved with, but it still was a ton of fun.
Did you ever get to see Jeff on course?
Yeah, when he lapped us.
were those KMC wheels just flying right by you?
Yeah. All we saw was tire and wheel, and we knew it was Jeff.
Just the red streak flying in front of you.
Yeah, just right past us.
Dude, that's pretty cool though, man. Sitting on the in the passenger seat of any type of truck, the spec truck, even Jeff's truck, like all that stuff would be so fun, man. How was it out there at KOH?
It was an experience, that's for sure. I mean, I've raced everything from Baja to works races to, street racing. I mean, anything, but that course was the gnarliest thing I think I've ever driven on. Like,
you concurred?
It was insane.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, it had elements of everything. I mean, plus the rocks. I mean, KOH is known for its rocks. So it had a lot of fast sections where you could really leg it. It had whooped out sections for miles. And then it was really tight and technical where you're up on the top of these mountains and descending down.
How does it differ from some of those goat trails in Mexico?
Very similar to some of the real slow speed goat trails like up in Mike Sky Ranch.
Oh, really?
Like where it's single track. There's not a lot of passing. If you get stuck behind someone, you got to wait till you kind of get out through that trail.
So were there obstacles that you, Ryan, or Jeff, you can answer this question too, that you hadn't experienced before?
I think those like moon bumps like coming into Hammertown where it was so tight, like the truck could barely fit. That was like the most random thing I've ever gone through. And it wasn't consistent or anything.
Yeah, you can't really accelerate through those. It's like you're either looking straight at the ground or you're looking straight up at the sky, and it's like this going back into town.
Right.
Really?
It's super awkward to like try and tiptoe through.
Like being on a teeter-totter?
Yeah, and you kind of have to just
Exactly.
throttle in, and it's a lot of throttle modulation to get through there so you don't nose in or bring the back end over the top. So,
Yeah, so you have to pedal it?
yeah.
That's pretty crazy, man. It's so interesting to me to hear all this stuff from your guys' standpoint and Jesse's standpoint, too. Like, again, like I don't have any desire to do KOH, but it's so amazing that, like, to hear these stories because I've never heard, like, a short course race is easy, right? A desert race is harder, but then this sounds like it's another layer.
Yeah, give me another 12 months and we're going to convince you to race KOH next year.
Great.
You have to experience it.
Really?
It's like nothing else on the planet.
Dude, I thought the UTV World Championship was
every corner
rocky.
you go around, it's just mind-blowing.
No, the UTV World Championship has nothing on KOH. This is like an off-road circus for 2 weeks.
You guys are gonna kill. You guys are gonna get me killed over here.
Apparently, people
George
said
is going
I
all
almost
in.
killed you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to. Do you know if anybody, like, if Sparko can make me a bubble suit and I can just fit in the race car in a Sparko bubble suit?
I think we can talk to Sparko Chris and he can help you out.
Right on.
Yeah, we'll get you right on that one.
Hey, so Ryan, you guys did have a good time out there, though. You brought a whole bunch of people out there. You had basically, I don't even know. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say 30% of the field in KMC wheels and stuff. So how were the drivers and what was everybody's overall thoughts?
You know what? Like the UTV and the desert stuff, man, I was thoroughly impressed with, our drivers and obviously with Proctor and his group. Like it's sometimes going into things, you kind of get down on yourself. You're like, I wish I had more. You wish you spread it across the field a little bit more. And then when you show up and, Bryce wins, Jeff is right up there with everyone, Casey. And then same thing with the UTV class. We, bunch of the Z-Bros guys, top 10. So, it's really rewarding to go and be there for 9+ days and actually have something good come out of it.
Yeah, so
instead of just going home with your.
I think he's being humble. I mean, Bryce went out there and put on an absolute clinic on KMC wheels and just put that thing on the top of the box like a boss.
Hey, so when I say this, I'm not like bagging on Bryce or anything. This is actually a compliment. But dude, that 4-wheel drive, first of all, it's bitching. But it looks like it's straight up cheating. Like, it is so awesome that it's, like, so fast. Like, I don't even know what to say. It's badass.
Yeah, the technology is incredible. He's developed so much on that car. It's
a Mason car?
It's well-balanced, yes. Yeah. But Bryce always does his own little tweaks to everything that he drives.
Oh, yeah. They're always going to put their own little short course, touch to it. But Casey put it into perspective for us. I didn't realize how much quicker the 4-wheel drive was until experiencing Casey coming up on us right there where the course met up with each other. Casey said he was a quarter mile out, and we thought we had good time on him. Dude, within seconds, he was on our back bumper.
Yeah,
and that just shows you how much faster how that 4-wheel drive just keeps you right up on top of everything.
So we did some testing when we were doing some Lucas short course racing, and we did at Lake Elsinore, we did a 30-minute run in 2-wheel drive, and then we did a 30-minute run in 4-wheel drive. And by the time that we were done with we'll call it a 30-minute moto, I think I had lapped myself almost 3 times.
In the all-wheel drive.
Just in 4-wheel drive.
In 4-wheel drive, yeah. I mean, we were making up like seconds a lap, and on a short course track that's almost impossible, right? Because normally the top 10 is like 0.9 seconds apart in the qualifying
right
times.
Like Supercross.
Yeah, and we were making up seconds because it was that much faster just in a UTV, so I can only imagine in a big horsepower truck.
Well, I think
it was insane.
In off-road racing, you're racing from corner to corner, right?
Right.
And everybody talks about selecting the right gear in a 2-wheel drive because you need to get out of the hole faster.
Or torque converters or whatever.
Yeah, well, when you're in an all-wheel drive, you have your front tires pulling you out of that corner in addition to your rear-wheel drive. So that's the advantage. It's corner to corner all day long with that front-wheel drive.
I don't want to get too technical and off conversation here, but doesn't that mean that they have to have in the transfer case, they have to have a clutch or something? Because how does the front-wheel drive not overpower the rear-wheel drive?
Hey, I'm the team owner, not the team engineer.
Yeah, dude. I've always had that question.
We'll let them figure that one out.
I've always had that question, man.
You're getting too technical, George.
So Caleb Barber commented in and said, how was the live coverage? It was super good out there, man. We couldn't even get coverage on our cell phones, so kudos to those guys for being able to do that live stuff.
Yeah, Caleb, I was actually thinking when I saw the live coverage after the event, how incredible it was. I mean, everybody's talked forever of how difficult Score International Racing in Baja is, or Best in the Desert here in the States for endurance racing, how difficult it is to cover. Dave put everybody, he silenced every critic and said, you can cover an endurance race.
Yep.
And here's how you do it.
Yeah.
You stream it live.
And make it interesting.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. Ricky Johnson, they had Fish, they had great commentators.
Cameron came up there for a little while.
Cameron. I mean,
it seemed like every section we would go through, there was another drone or, another camera crew just standing there waiting for us.
Yeah, the homie Jake Ubetta was up there with all his drones flying those things around. They were like freaking mountain goats themselves climbing the top of those hills on their feet.
Dude, I thought one was going to come in the cab of the truck at one point.
The live drone coverage is second to none. I mean, these guys set the bar for endurance off-road racing by a long shot.
Dude, I'm interested to see if they can transfer that over to some of the short course stuff. Hey, you know what? I'll take you up on the offer to do KOH next year. I'm just going to trick you and sign up for the short course race.
All right, whatever it takes to get you out there, George. But I'm calling out Score International right now, and I'm calling out Best in the Desert. You guys need to step up your live stream game, because you guys are falling behind.
Because it's there. It's available.
Dude, give Ultra 4 a call and get that thing going. Yeah. Ryan and I actually talked about it at the campfire. There's new technology out that we want to do with the show to be able to cover some of the events like that. And they're called like bonded cellular networks and all kinds of different crazy
Elevate
stuff.
Your game, George.
Dude, I'm way behind now. I learned about it like 2 weeks ago, and I feel like I'm like in the 1990s right now with this technology.
It's really traveling at the speed of light.
Dude, for real. Yeah. Hey, Ryan, so John commented in and said, if you have fuel, George, you're never lost. So I had 3 bars in the Honda Talon. So how far would that got me, Jeff? Another 3-4 hours?
I don't know about 3 hours. It depends on how fast you're going.
I was going idle speed because I didn't know where I was.
3 hours all day long. Hondas are known for their, their economy.
Yeah, and it sounds like people are definitely do want me to get out there. So get out that RS1 out. Maybe I'll try a Honda Talon though this year, John. And then
I think you'd be a rock star in the Talon.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, like I love shaft-driven cars, first of all, and then that DCT, like I can't tell you how impressed I was with the way that car drove. And the reason I say it is because the ability for me to control my feet is a lot less than a normal person. So I don't just put my toes and stuff on the pedal. Like I hold my leg up and I jam on the throttle, and it was able to control some of that and make it so it wasn't so jerky. It was awesome. Like, I love that part of it, man. So, and Caleb commented in again saying those drones, it was really, really cool. Yeah, so anybody that wants to get, maybe I need to call Ultra 4 and talk to them and see what we can do for the Dirt Life show due to remote stuff.
Get the Dirt Life remote show going.
Hey, so you guys obviously won a few of the races and stuff, Ryan, but one of the things I want to talk about that I had a question for Jeff was, so this is kind of... It was the first race that you were racing the Honda Ridgeline against the 6100s, right?
It was, yeah.
And how did you guys feel when you were, let's just say, going up to the gate or going up to the starting line? Was there a lot of unknowns?
I wouldn't say it was unknown. I mean, obviously we go out there and we prepare and we do our homework. For me, I was more excited about the start line of KOH this year than I have been in a very long time, and for a couple of reasons. The guys on my team have known that I've wanted to kind of test my skills and test our truck against 6100s, because that's really the platform that it's based off of. Our horsepower is very comparable. There's a lot of things that make our truck comparable to 6100s. And so to get the opportunity to race against them, I was just over the moon. But as far as lining up, we qualified 6th in our class and 15th overall. So we're pulling up to the
Wait. Let's back story this a little bit here. So when you say 15th overall, there's the way that they call it is T1 and T2, which is trophy truck, and then spec truck, which is usually like trophy truck and 6100s. And they put everybody together when you say overall. So the trophy trucks, there was trophy trucks behind you, and there was trophy trucks, 14 drivers, but trophy trucks and spec trucks in front of you. So first of all, that's impressive in itself.
We weren't sure where we were going to stack up. Obviously, Ray Griffith has always been my qualifying coach. If those of you that know Ray Griffith, and he kind of has a certain style, and so I just took what I had learned from the coaching from Ray Griffith and applied it to qualifying at KOH, and we ended up where we ended up. But it was really a surreal feeling for me to be lined up with the Herbst and the Householders and some of the biggest names in trophy truck, Cameron Steele and Bobby Pecoy and those guys, Bryce Menzies, and to be lining up with those guys and saying, shoot, we're going to go out and bang doors with these guys. Like, let's see how this happens. So
that's probably a pretty fresh feeling, right?
I was excited for it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. The race course.
I'm sure lining up with 40s on the truck helped out too.
Well, yeah, we talked about the 40s on the show already, but yeah, the 40s were an absolute game changer. So that gives me as a driver a lot of confidence too, knowing that I had the right equipment to go out there and run hard with those guys. We brought a V6 to the table with a lot of everybody else was in a V8.
Right.
But had a ton of fun out there, mixing with the 6100 guys. Those guys are fast. I've got a lot of respect for those guys in that class. They can really drive those trucks.
It's pretty cool. And then you came home P4?
Yep. Yeah. Fell just 3 minutes and 50 seconds shy of a podium.
Wow, that's crazy, man. And that's a pretty gnarly race for 3 minutes and 55 seconds. But
I think we're holding our head high. We battled all day. We were running up front, and we came up a little bit short. But
did you get to watch some of the race, Ryan?
No, I haven't. Honestly, I haven't even gone back and watched the live feed yet. People just told me I look like an idiot floundering around trying to get the truck unstuck. So I'm trying to avoid it.
You don't want to see it? I didn't get to see that either. I just saw most of the social media posts that you put up there. Man, that's
more people saw me on that than anything, so I'm trying to avoid it.
That's super cool that you guys are both able to experience that. Like, just thinking about it now, like how cool it would be for any of our listeners or any of the audience members and fans to be able to sit in a truck or even in a UTV and go out and experience that. Like, I like to look at life in a different perspective. You glass empty, half full, whatever you want to call it. Like, and I'm saying that I have no desire to race KOH, right? But when I think about
We're going to change that. I'm tired of you saying that, George.
So my point is kind of along those lines. All of our audience members keep saying, you got to do it, right? And that's because they genuinely want to do it. So why shouldn't I think like that? Like, I should think and be happy about doing something like that, because that would be a phenomenal opportunity.
Yep.
I think it would be pretty cool. And it might not be quite as bougie as Ryan getting in a trophy truck, but hey, I'll do it in a side-by-side.
Hey, Ryan, we've got 12 months to figure out how to pull together a program for George to race KOH next year. You think we can do it?
Hey, I got a Honda Talon ready. You just got to do the prep.
I already pre-ran the parking lot.
Did you hear that?
See?
You're there. That? We have a Honda Talon available.
You burned in enough.
I know a Honda guy that can get parts and has a guy that can prep them.
Perfect.
So,
okay. So
I think we just put a program
halfway
together.
There.
Right on. That sounds good, man.
KMC logos down the doors.
Perfect. I already got my sweater on, so I'm already halfway there.
And you got your race team manager. He's right there with you. So
dude,
good to go.
Done and done. Yeah, we got.
We can add another talent to the stable. It's just another talent.
Since I'm always big media guy these days now too, we got one of your guys, Adam Gunn, right over here. He can help with some of the social media so that I don't have to press the buttons while I'm driving.
Yeah, Adam's awesome. He's been with my team for a long time, does all of our social media, really works hard behind the scenes to keep our website and all of our content available for viewers. So thanks, Adam. Appreciate all you do.
Yeah, he does actually a really good job. He keeps me in line some of the times too. Yeah, okay.
I can firsthand attest to that one.
Dude, big time. And so Amanda said, I should put it on my bucket list. All right, well, it's going on there right now. I already added it to the bucket list. So it would be, I would think Levi Shirley and Lauren Healy would be open to it. I don't know what Tony's talking about. Maybe it was something that we said before. We'll just skip over that one for now. Yes, change his mind.
Tony, tell us what you're talking about with Levi, Shirley, and Lauren.
Run the EV class in electric UTV. Is that actually a thing?
Shit, I don't even know if there's one available.
I mean, with all the electric vehicle stuff going on, I'm sure it's a thing, but I haven't heard anything about an EV class yet.
Hey, Ryan, so you're a big moto guy, and we were talking about Ken Roczen earlier with Jessy Nelson. Dude, what the heck has gotten up with Ken Roczen, man? He's killing it right now in the Supercross series.
I think they're somebody lit the fire under that guy's ass because he is killing it.
He really is. He's doing so
pumped.
good. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that guy. Hey, so what's next on your list, Ryan? You said you were going to do, I think, Parker next?
Yeah, Parker 250, racing the rally class in the KMC car. Go out there, work, do some media, and then get in the car and race. And we got some new front uniballs, so hopefully we don't break this time.
Yeah, big ball joint guy over here upgrading to uniballs.
No more ball joints, so we're good now.
So do you guys have any plans on either attending or racing any of those events for Best in the Desert or no?
Yeah. So we do have a Best in the Desert race scheduled for August, Vegas to Reno. Actually, It's flipped. It's Reno to Vegas this year.
Really?
550
I'm pretty stoked for that.
miles. We'll start just south of Reno and finish in Las Vegas. So looking forward to that one.
I always heard that I've never done Vegas to Reno, just the start of it, but I've always heard that everybody likes the last portion of it. So now is everybody going to like the first portion of it and want to drive off the starting line?
No, it's the opposite.
It's actually the opposite.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's
okay.
Like single track up in like the pine forest, big boulders in the race line. I mean, it's a tough.
It's literally like racing
race.
hammers.
Yeah.
Really?
Tough way to finish a race. After you're beat all day, you've been behind the wheel for 9 to 12 hours, and then you come to this section and it just works you.
Are you going to do that race too, Ryan?
They don't do the rally class, but I think if James is racing in the turbo class, I'll be chasing for him.
Oh, okay, cool. Right
so
on.
You're gonna have to come out and man the chase truck for us.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm already doing it for Parker. Actually, I told James I'd be.
You're ready.
Yeah, on the checklist for that.
So Rhino, who do you have in your right seat when you're racing the rally class at the Parker 250?
Kyle, right?
Right now it's my little brother Aaron. He's a light little guy and he's somewhat mechanically inclined, so it's kind of nice to have that familiar voice sitting next to you. Kyle opted to run the pits for us. He wants to be the pit captain and pit manager and keep everything going. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to race with my brother just because we grew up racing motocross together our whole life. So now, like, getting him into the UTV thing and, showing him what it's all about. He raced with me at the 2-day race last year and he loved it. So. You
guys can probably attest to this because I've only had a co-driver a couple times in my short career of side-by-side racing. But when you can have two moto guys sitting next to each other, let's use as an example. My co-driver was my crew chief, another moto guy. And we spent so much time together off the track. Like, it was like he was already ahead of what my brain was thinking in the passenger seat. So it was like the match made in heaven, right? Like, do you guys have that when you're talking about your brother, Ryan, or you with Evan, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean... Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that going to the moto thing, it's crazy you say that because when you drive with someone or co-ride with someone that isn't moto, oriented, our lines and our brains almost think differently. It's not a bad thing. It's almost two different driving styles. I look at lines one way where a guy who's raced a truck his whole life or something looks at lines completely different.
Yeah.
So it's really good to have that partnership in that base and having that moto mentality together.
It's like you're in the same brain almost.
Yeah.
What about you and Evan?
Yeah. So, I mean, a driver navigator combo, you have to gel. You have to be on the same page. I've been so fortunate. Evan Weller's been with me for 4 seasons now. And honestly, he knows my driving style. He knows how, our lines. He prepares a lot to do what he does. I think the guys in the right seat are kind of the unsung heroes of off-road. They don't get nearly as much credit as they deserve.
Dude, I've always said...
It's so difficult. I could never be in the right seat. It's such a hard job.
I've always said they're almost more important than the driver, right?
Those guys are just warriors in the right seat, and I can't thank Evan enough. He does such a great job, and it's really a marriage. I mean, you really got to be on the same page, a lot of communication, a lot of work, and at the end of the day, I always look at it as I go to war with Evan every race.
Yep.
We literally go to war. And
exactly.
You think about the bonding that comes from doing something really hard with people that you care about, and that's essentially what you're doing is you're sharing this experience together. And going to war.
Dude,
And
I agree
it's-
100%.
It's rewarding when you're just clicking
Yeah,
and
it
you're
is.
on the same page.
All right, Ryan. Hey, well, we're going to go to a commercial break in just a second here. We got to get some refills of water, and then we're going to come back and have some fun asking Jeff some more Honda Offroad questions. So, hey, dude, it was good seeing you out at KOH. Thank you very much for the hamburger and the ride around in the Honda Talon. I appreciate it, bud.
Hey, no problem at all, dude. And we'll see you out at Parker. And hopefully this time you're not going to get lost on the way out there.
Yeah, I'll bring a GPS, dude.
Yeah,
Apple
we're
Watch.
gonna put a
All right,
tracker on
dude.
him right now.
Perfect.
Hey, thanks,
All right, Jeff,
homie.
it was good talking to you, man.
Likewise. Take care.
Later.
Later, guys.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick commercial break for about 5 minutes here, and then we have some specific Honda questions to ask Jeff, so we will be right back.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in the Desert and Score. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target. We are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period. Finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I've been trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch, you can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans, like, let's say, a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up.
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah, also as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel, And then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really, really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything. So that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
It's like a first aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, chase trucks have it as well, so that if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Welcome back. Thank you guys very, very much for joining us this Monday night. We really, really appreciate it. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we're at episode 71, man. 71 of the Dirt Life Show. This is phenomenal that we've been able to be with you guys pretty much every Monday night. We only taken a few off, like when I watered myself up or for Christmas. So it's pretty neat to be able to be with you guys. And thank you very much, Bryant Lambert, for the water. I appreciate it. Man, this show has been kicked off. Like, we haven't even started talking about the general Honda Offroad questions that I want to ask you, because we've been having so much fun talking shop and talking about the KOH races and Supercross. So I just want to dive right in, man. So we have some specific questions that came in. One that I want to just get right off of the bat and say it. Being a team principal, you have a hard job, right? You have to, you're also a driver for the team, but you also have to make executive decisions. You have to keep Honda happy. You have to keep all of your sponsors happy. And one of our fans asked, what was the reason that the drivers had left so soon in the Honda Talent program in 2020?
Yeah, I think that's a valid question. I think there's a lot of unanswered questions out there about that. I mean, I'll say I think turnover in any organization is a negative thing.
Yeah, whether you're working at Walmart or Circle K or whatever.
You don't necessarily want to turn people over. And I think when we go out to the market and we hire a capable driver for the program, we never intend them to be around for one season. You know, we want them to be around at least 2 seasons, 3 seasons, and
to grow with the program.
Yeah, and grow with the program and come through the ladder system like we've talked that we've wanted to do for so long, is start out with the talents, migrate to the Ridgeline race truck, and eventually into the trophy truck stable. But there's so many different things that go on behind the scenes that affect those decisions that it's really difficult to talk about those. But when you hire a young driver, you're not only hiring the young driver, but what comes with the driver is their family and their parents, and that can also create different environments on the team. And sometimes those environments and those cultures click, and sometimes they don't. And it can be very challenging. And
would a good analogy be something like it's a completely different sport, but like let's just say the NBA, you have, let's just pick 3 people. You have a Michael Jordan, you have a Larry Bird, and then you have a Dennis Rodman, all which have completely different personalities and completely different work ethics, and some gel with certain organizations and some gel with other organizations better. Yeah,
I think that's correct, and it depends on, how that particular racer had come up through the ranks. So let's say Michael Jordan, his dad was his coach his entire youth career.
Right.
And then all of a sudden Michael gets picked up by the Bulls, and Michael's dad still wants to coach Michael Jordan, but Phil Jackson's the coach now.
Yeah. Exactly.
So sometimes it can be very difficult for the dads to step away and not have their hands in the program, not have hands on the prep of the race car.
That happens a lot with MX dudes too.
It's a very big thing in the moto world,
right.
And it happened a little bit on our team too. The dads had some difficulty really allowing their sons to flourish and race for somebody else because they've been so hands-on. And I don't fault the dads.
I was going to say, you can't fault them for that.
You can't. They've been so hands-on with their programs to get their young racer to that stage in their career where they can be offered a factory talent.
Well, and just if you take racing out of the picture, I mean, you're a father, you know what it feels like for a child you protect them all the time.
Absolutely. I have a 13-year-old son. I've coached his little league teams, and sometimes I think he actually performs better for other coaches than his own dad. So that's
There you
a
go.
whole nother thing. but I guess without getting too far off track, there's different cultures and dynamics within teams, and sometimes it doesn't work out, and we have to move a different direction because the bigger picture is always a lot more important than the sum of just some of the individual parts. So.
Yeah, 100%. And that leads me to one of the other questions that we were going to talk about. You just signed a new 2-year extension, I think, with Honda.
Yeah, we're really pleased with that. We have a 2-year contract on the Ridgeline side with the auto division, which allows us to keep racing this Ridgeline for our 7th and 8th season now.
Such a
really
cool
stoked
truck,
on that.
man.
And then we did re-up with the Honda Talent program as well for another 2 years at least with the Talent. So, blessed to have our relationship with American Honda and really all of our sponsors that allow us to go out and perform.
Yeah, and we want to talk about some of those other sponsors too, but just thinking about it, like with, and I'm not even close to in your position or anything like that, but there's got to be a lot of, I don't want to say pressure because you can take pressure pretty easily. You're a race car driver, but there's a lot of weight on your shoulders because not only do you have to race the Ridgeline truck and operate the program for that, but you have to manage and be a team principal for the whole program that you talked about for one of the largest motorsports companies in the world.
Yeah, some days I have to sit back and pinch myself. I'm fortunate for the opportunities, but there's a lot of plates that we're juggling and balls that we're juggling at any one time. And, I've got a great team around me and a great support network. So
that's what I was going to say.
My whole thing is that we do all of our work and all of the hard work gets done before we leave for the race. So by the time we get to the race, we're executing our plan.
Yep.
If we're still working when we're at the race, we failed in the shop before we got there.
Yep.
And so what that does is with that mentality, this allows me to, when I get to the race, I'm 100% focused on my task at hand, which is driving that truck and making sure it gets there. I'm still handling some minor logistics, but I got a lot of great people around me that help with that.
It's really cool, and I've been able to see a little bit of surface level stuff being at your guys' shop before, and it's pretty phenomenal the amount of actual work that you guys do. And I'm not discounting any of the other teams or anything like that, but I've been able to firsthand see the stuff that you guys do, and it's pretty phenomenal that you guys are able to have such a good operating program. One of the things that I was thinking about before the show, I think it was maybe last Wednesday or something, I was thinking to myself, I always wanted to be the short course guy for Yamaha at the time that brought a moto type of factory feel to the races, right? We did a lot of the same stuff that you're doing. We brought parts for other Yamaha guys. We helped other Yamaha guys. We did a lot of research and development, all these different things that go on behind the scenes. But I always wanted to have that little edge of professionalism on course or at the track, right? And I thought that we started to be able to do it. My career was obviously very short, but you're doing it at an even better level than what I thought I was doing. So when I see that you guys are bringing this type of professionalism to the course or to the races, and obviously you're doing it behind the scenes, I can't wait to see what the next level is that the other people that are following catch up to see how well the industry grows in the future. Because I've always thought it's going to be just like motocross. It's going to have semis. It's going to have this factory support. It's going to be this high level thing.
Yeah, I think the sport's well on its way to get there. We're definitely not there yet, but that's part of the vision of our program is just to bring a level of professionalism, a level of maturity to an industry that could grow a little bit more with, the likes of NASCAR setting the bar and
exactly.
the likes of Supercross and those sort of things. So, we're definitely moving in that direction, but we still have a lot of work to do, and we're just trying to do our part.
Well, I like how you are answering it in a humble way, but you got to be pretty proud of yourself. Seeing it from the outside, you're one of the industry leaders and you're on the forefront of that. So keep going the way you're doing it, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, George. Appreciate that.
So we're talking about the drivers. You're going to have some new drivers filling in or being part of the program this year. You said Bailey Cole and Jordan Pellegrino obviously did the KOH stuff, but who's going to be doing some of the Talon Desert stuff? Yeah,
we elected to do a little bit of a different setup this year by having rock-specific racers at KOH, and I felt like that worked out really well for us. Those guys were great to have on the team and great energy, and the partnership really worked out. Now that the
probably helps you guys learn a lot too on the other side, right? Like,
oh gosh, like Jessy was saying earlier tonight, there's so much to be learned at that race. This is only our sophomore year racing KOH, so we took so much from what we learned last year and applied it this year, and we're only going to get better every year that we race KOH because it's just its own animal.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was Rock Specific Racers. We learned a ton from them. We'll continue to learn from those guys with our partnership with them. And then once the desert season starts here in April 16th down in San Felipe, we had a schedule change.
Actually, before you even announce the drivers, what races are you guys actually doing in the Honda Talent program?
Yeah, so unfortunately with the schedule change with the Mint 400 being pushed to December, it's like a week and a half after the Baja 1000 point-to-point race to La Paz, and it's just impossible for us to turn around a 3-race car program in a week and a half. Yeah,
that's way too much work.
Not to mention it would cause all of my guys to work through Thanksgiving and miss time with their families, and I just can't do that to my crew. So we're going to have to opt out of the Mint 400 this year just because of the schedule change, and we've picked up the San Felipe 250, which we're really excited about.
You know, you're not the only one that said that. We've heard a bunch of teams that have said that as well. They were unfortunately upset that the Mint 400 was scheduled at that time. So who's going to be taking the wheel of those cars?
Yeah, so in our first Talon in the desert season, we have Zach Sizelove. You know, Zach, I've known Zach for years. I've seen him kind of come up through the ranks in off-road racing. He brings a ton of desert endurance racing experience to the table. Not very well known. When we made the announcement, a lot of people were like, who's Zach Sizelove?
Who is he? So give me a little bit of background on Zach Sizelove.
Zach Sizelove grew up in a off-road racing family up in the high desert of California, up in the Hesperia area. And his dad's raced 1,600 cars and is a fantastic prep mechanic, and which means Zach is very mechanical and grew up building and prepping his own cars at a very young age.
A massive plus for endurance racing.
But what a lot of people don't know is that he's been backing up Al Hogan, who's kind of famous for a lot of wins in Class 7 over the years. He was Al Hogan's backup driver for at least the last 4 years or so.
Wow.
And really was the strength behind Al's program, but Al got all the credit because he was the driver of record. Anyway, a lot of respect for Zach. He's got a lot of knowledge of the desert, a lot of knowledge driving a limited race car, which translates over to a Talon because he knows how to take care of equipment. He knows how to push a limited car and keep the momentum in the corners. So I think
clearly being mechanical, he can fix stuff.
Yeah, and we can count, not that he's going to need to, but in the event that he has to,
Well, we're talking endurance desert racing. You never know what's going to happen, right?
Anything can happen in the dark of night down in Mexico.
And do you guys have a second driver yet, or just?
We do. We've hired a second driver. Really, really excited to make that announcement. We haven't made it yet.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is he's an experienced Mexico racer. And we're counting on him to put up some huge results down in Mexico. He knows it well. He's a Mexican national, and he's been racing for many, many years. He'll be a great addition to the team.
Thanks for throwing out the hint. So if any of our fans or audience members want to go look and see if they can get behind the scenes, but when's that announcement going to come through?
Let's see. We got Adam here, our media guy. When are we going to announce the Elias? When are we going to announce the new driver edition?
Maybe in the next couple months here, huh?
Next Monday?
Oh, wow. So it's coming up quick.
We're not going to announce him till March 1st? Nah, we're going to announce it earlier than that, dude. People are waiting for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So sometime in the month of February, but yes, he is already hired. He's already been working out with the team and has been testing with us. So we're really confident with the two drivers that we have this year and the experience that they're bringing to the table.
It'll be pretty cool. And I like the setup or the structure that you have, because not only do you have to have fantastic drivers on the team, you have to have different disciplines, and it's always a huge like test riders in motocross. It's always awesome to have good test riders because they can provide so much feedback, right? So when you have somebody like with the experience that you're talking about, at least with Zach Sizelove, it's going to help you guys as a team immensely, not just a good driver behind the wheel.
Yeah, I mean that's important to improve any race car, and especially when we're only in our sophomore season with this talent. There's a lot of development work that can be done, and if you have a driver that really understands the mechanics of it, he can speak intelligently and give that feedback back to our crew chief and the guys that are working on these cars to really develop them and make them faster and more competitive with whatever we're doing.
It's awesome, man. And then we just talked about you guys having the new 2-year contract extension with Power Sports and Auto with Honda, but you guys also added a new sponsor to the program, or maybe more than one new sponsor to the program?
Yeah, I think the big news for us is we brought on Maxxis tires.
Nice sweatshirt, by the way.
Yeah, I'm flying the Maxxis flag tonight. Just really excited about this new partnership with Maxxis. I like to ride mountain bikes, so they make a good mountain bike tire, but that wasn't the decision.
I just got new Maxxis mini bike tires, so.
Yep, they're rad tires. But no, I mean, going back to the Maxxis partnership, I mean, they cover us in the truck racing. They have a 40 available. It proved to be an incredible new tire that we launched with them for off-road racing. It's called the Maxxis Razor MT, 40-inch tire that we're running on the Ridgeline. And then
it looks super cool too.
And then everyone out there in side-by-side world, we have launched an all-new desert tire from Maxxis. It's called the Razor XT.
Okay.
Go check it out.
What size is it?
It comes in a 32-inch tire. There will be some larger sizes available probably in the future, but right now it's a 32-inch tire, and I believe they make a 30 as well. Incredible traction, incredible side bite. It's nice and rounded, so it doesn't have the square edge, so the steering bites. And
that's one of the things that I've always hated about certain tires is that square edge feel, man.
Yeah, so anyone out there who's got a side-by-side and does any kind of desert or trail riding, go out and check out the Maxxis Razor XT.
All right, so we got a couple more specific questions, but before we get into those, you have just talking to you on this show. I mean, I've talked to you before, but just talking to you on this show, it amazes me and baffles me at the same time. How the hell do you keep mental clarity for all the stuff that you have going on?
I honestly don't have an answer for that, George.
Just ride your bike and take deep breaths, or what?
Adam works with me every day. He sees that I blow my mind sometimes. I mean, I'm definitely not perfect, but I think at the end of the day, I have a vision for where we want to take the program. And I think if it's an old Stephen Covey saying, right? You got to begin with the end in mind. So as long as you always know where you're going, it's not hard to stay on track, and you just got to make small gains towards that end goal every day.
Milestones.
And that's how I keep mental clarity. I mean, it's just knowing where you're going and making sure that you're making those little strides every day, 1% better every day to get to what you're trying to accomplish.
So one thing that I live my life by is eating the elephant one bite at a time, right? So my dad's always taught me that, and it's something that I've always strived for. Because
we must be from the same generation. Because my parents told me the same thing.
Yeah, maybe they saw it on TV and then just pass it on to But those little victories, dude, are so they're so special. And I did it all the time in racing. I've done it in some of the injuries that I've had, and they make a huge difference, because if you don't have those little victories, you can bypass being happy sometimes, and you can't do that. You got to stay clear, and you got to stay healthy with that. That's why I thought it was so cool that you do some of these extracurricular activities like ride bicycles, mountain bikes, bicycles, whatever it is. So you haven't rode a motorcycle in a long time, a dirt bike?
No, it's been about 4 years. I still have a moto bike. It's set up for the track. It's got factory connection suspension. It's a 450 Honda.
Yeah. What year? Is it an older one?
No, it's a newer one. But
is it?
I just don't get a whole lot of time at the track just because I'm worried that I'm going to.
So one of my buddies
is
you got to be super careful. So one of my buddies is Josh Shorter over at Thor MX. He's the brand manager over there. What gear are you running?
Oh,
Do you remember what you got in your gear bag?
I'm trying to think.
The reason that I'm
going to date myself right now if I tell you One Industries.
Yeah. So the reason that I asked that is because I moved from Arizona to Southern California just a little bit ago, and I had to look through my old gear bag, and I had some One Industry stuff in there. And then I looked, dude, my professional stuff was, you remember AXO?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I had the orange, like Damon Bradshaw
That's
AXO.
OG.
Dude,
OG.
I looked at it, and it brought me back to my childhood. I was like, yes, that's the coolest stuff ever. I was
We're
like,
dating ourselves if we know what AXO is.
I wish
Axo.
they made that cool stuff again. So I was going to call Josh and tell him to make some old school gear like that. All right, so you had talked about how gnarly, and we had talked about how gnarly KOH was. What was the gnarliest race that you've ever done? And it doesn't have to be a race that you did in the Ridgeline, but it could be.
Yeah, I think I don't think I have to think long to think about the gnarliest race. It's got to be the Baja 1000 every year.
Really?
The Baja 1000 is just its own animal at a different level than KOH. KOH is kind of like the circus.
Yeah.
The Baja 1000 is like a 24-hour train wreck that never stops crashing. And you're just overcoming. And,
Little victories, man.
And exactly. And like you say, those little victories, you have to hang your hat on the small successes, right? You can't get down. You've got to stay up. And you talk to anyone on my team, and you'll hear me say in our team meetings that if anyone gets down on our team, everybody else is responsible for building that person up. Because
dude, that's rad.
Once you get down, that can be catastrophic to an organization in a race that lasts over 24 hours.
Exactly.
And so you have to have that energy on the team, all pushing to get that car to the finish line. And it's mental as much as it is physical. But the Baja 1000, there's no, in my experience, there's no greater achievement than trying to win that race. It's so tough, and I'm seeing it from a racer's perspective, a team owner's perspective, from a logistical perspective of taking, 50, 60, 70, volunteers down there to support you. It's a lot to pull off that race, and to find the podium or find victory at the Baja 1000, it's hard to describe. It's so tough.
I had put together just a base platform to see because Yamaha had asked me to do that so I could see if they wanted to support the program. And unfortunately, I put together the whole package, and unfortunately they weren't able to allocate the funds for it, so we didn't end up doing it. But just going through the paperwork portion of it to put together the package to do it, I was scared that I wasn't going to have enough support, not only with parts, funding, and stuff like that for the vehicle, but just to get the people to cover the race. It was phenomenal. So I can see what you're talking about with the little victories and stuff like that. That's a good transition, actually. I have a specific question for you, but you guys also, with the Honda program, you have J Sport side-by-side, right? And you manufacture a lot of the products that you use in the races?
Yeah, so J Sport side-by-side basically is, we started with these Honda Talons a year ago, and there weren't any race parts available in the marketplace.
Did you bring any?
There weren't any race parts available in the marketplace. And so we had to go out and, as a team, develop these race parts for these cars to be competitive. And this is actually a post-processed.
God, that thing looks so bling, man.
This is a 300M axle out of our long travel Talons that we raced down in Mexico with. It's the 4-seater chassis, developed in-house by our brand J Sport. And
what coating is that?
This is actually a proprietary coating that we use. I call it the root beer coating, but it's actually a black oxide coating.
So you guys can't feel how heavy this is, but you can see a little bit of the coating. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but this is really, really solid, man. This thing is badass.
And so basically, if we were going to spend, all the development to develop these just for our team, why not make it available to other Honda Talon racers out there that want to compete at the highest level? And that's where this axle came from. And then looks like you have a.
I don't know if this is a tie rod or a radius rod, but this
is actually a tie rod here. And again, another J Sport side-by-side part that we developed for our race
I like the color
cars.
of this too.
And
it's kind of like a gunmetal blue.
And the cool thing is that you can go on to J Sport Side by Side's website, jsportsidebyside.com, and you can go to the race tab on the website.
Quality Heims too. These things feel nice.
FK has been supporting us from the beginning. We run them on the race truck, all of our Talons. And don't go cheap with your Heims.
So what you were saying about all of this stuff being available for your race program and available for the general public too, that's super cool because like growing up in motocross, both of us, we always wanted the factory stuff, right? Like, oh my God, if Ken Roczen's running this, I want to be able to run that, like work suspension and stuff like that. It's pretty cool that racing a side by side, you can get this stuff for your rig too.
Yeah, it's certainly not the.
You know a guy that can put this on? I heard this dude George is going to have a KOH program. Can he have some of these?
Well, we probably wouldn't race KOH without that race axle.
Dude, these things are super. I love this color. This is a super cool color too. Do they come in this color, or they come in a different color?
All of our tie rods and radius rods come exclusively in this color. It's kind of a color that matches any color Talon that you have out there. So it'll work with the green one, the red one, or the blue one.
Yeah, universal color.
Yeah.
Those things are super cool. Where can I go look at some of this stuff?
Yeah, so if you go to jsportsidebyside.com, you go to the race tab, and we have all of our race parts for sale there. Now, it goes without saying that these parts aren't necessarily the most affordable parts out there, but when you're buying one of these parts, if you plan on racing your vehicle, you're going to be buying the best of the best that we've tried and tested these parts to the nth degree to make sure that they're worthy of our racing so that we don't have those part failures. And it's really a true testament to the amount of development we've done that we finish with these race cars. And
you guys test a lot too. So talking about how reliable all these parts are and stuff like that, we just had a question come in that says, what's the chances that Honda's going to do Dakar?
Hey, John, appreciate the question. Well, we were talking about kind of my vision for the program. So I don't have an immediate answer to say, hey, Honda will race Dakar. But I can publicly tell you that that's definitely the direction that I'd like to go. We saw Can-Am do really well with Casey Curry.
Yep.
And now you have AJ Jones in a Can-Am, and then Polaris, the American team, came with Polaris support this year.
The Red Bull Junior guys are doing too good.
Red Bull Junior guys are doing good now too. Yeah. So it's definitely catching the eye of American marketing and our industry.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of time, and we're definitely making as many strides as we can to get a Honda program in Dakar. It makes sense with the bikes.
God, are you going to, if that comes through to fruition, first of all, I'd be so amped for you, but that means you're never going to sleep, dude.
Yeah, well, again, I can't do anything that I do without the incredible support of all the great people around me, and
God, that'd be so cool.
It just means we're going to have a bigger team, and but only time will tell. I can't make any commitments right now and say yes, Honda's going to race a Talon in Dakar, but if I had my way, we'll be there in 2 to 3 years.
God, that would be so cool, man. Hey, so to go back, we kind of skipped over when we talked about the J Sport stuff, but to go back kind of in talking about the race stuff. So you obviously have a lot going on in your head when you're working to get to the races. When you're in the race truck, does it change? Watching Supercross for the past, let's just say 3 weeks or whatever it's been on, I've noticed that when I see Supercross, being a former racer and racing motocross, I tend to like the guys that I see that have the same mindset as me. I'm not a Cooper Webb. I don't have that racecraft mindset that he does. Like, I can't see things the way that he did. I'm more of a Ken Roczen where I can pace myself. I can kind of pace the things around me, and I can move forward like that. Do you have a way that you sit in the driver's seat and you have a full-on nail it, go get him Eli Tomac attitude, or more like a Cooper Webb, like a racecraft kind of thing?
I've never really, sat back and thought about my style as a driver, but if I had to pick, it would definitely be more of a racecraft type of a guy. Endurance off-road racing typically doesn't yield great success when you just attack. You pin it. I mean, it takes patience. It takes perseverance. You got to know where you're at in track position, to know how hard to push, because it's not just pin it to win it in endurance off-road. You've got to really know your vehicle. You've got to know the capabilities of your vehicle. You've got to preserve equipment. Like this year's Baja 1000 is 1,200 miles.
That's crazy.
I mean, do you have the brake pads that'll last 1,200 miles? I mean,
yeah.
So there's different elements that you're managing besides just pinning the race car and going as fast as you possibly can.
So to go back on that, and this is something that Caleb would probably, and hopefully I'm answering a question ahead of it. That would be the perfect mindset if you're going to go into a Dakar race, because then you're understanding what's going to happen. You may add another layer to it, right? Because you're thinking, okay, what if I do something this day that's going to affect the next day? So you just have to add that another layer on so that you can conserve the car for the next day, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dakar is a great example. Ricky Brayback, for example, he's really came into his own with his racecraft, and he manages that race. He really managed Dakar really well this year, and he came up a little bit short, but I mean, shoot, he was down by like 20 minutes at one point.
Dude, he made up so much time this year.
But he was managing his race. So, I think that's a big part of it that kind of gets overlooked a lot of times, that racers think that, or people on the outside think that you just pin it to win it, and there's a lot more strategy and tactics involved in kind of managing the race.
So speaking of Ricky Brayback, it just kind of brought to my mind, does he have a Honda Talon? Because I know that Roczen has a Honda Talon, doesn't he?
Yeah, Kenny's got a Talon. Actually, Adam and I were out riding with him at the Honda Talon Takeover presented by J Sport back in October.
Dude, how rad is that?
He came out and played with us for the day, so that was fun. And then Brayback actually has a Talon as well.
Nice.
So both of them absolutely love their side-by-side.
So I'm sure our audience will want to know, was Kenny fast on a side-by-side?
I think the audience already knows the answer to that. Is Kenny going to be fast in anything he rides or drives?
Absolutely.
Yes.
He's probably going to, well, if we were going up a 3,000-foot vertical climb, I think Kenny would probably be 2 miles ahead of us because he's faster than everybody, right?
So.
Hey, so we're going to kind of start winding down the show. I have some rapid-fire questions that we're going to ask you to end the show, but before we do, I know that you've already said that you have a great team, but maybe you could throw a couple shouts-outs to some of the KOH guys that helped you. What was it? Which one are you looking at here?
So I guess I kind of spilled the beans with who my second driver is. So John and John Lewis, let's see here. Yeah, you're right. I did kind of have a little bit of a Freudian slip there. So
hey, nobody listens to the show, John.
Yes, he is my second Talon driver, but just everybody else will have to wait till it's formally announced online. But yes,
yeah, exactly.
That was a big team owner blunder right there.
Hey, so John, just keep it to yourself and wait and see if anybody else knows. And if they don't, tell them to come watch the show, and then you guys can catch up on it. So help us out a little bit here, bud. So Caleb said, Jeff, do you think it's going to take running 35s in a UTV to stay competitive in that class? Maybe he's talking about just for KOH, because 35s are pretty big, man.
Yeah, that's a good question, Caleb. I definitely think the industry is going 35s on side-by-sides. It's just kind of the progression of the sport. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily. The side-by-side racing initially came to fruition because it was a very economical way to get into racing. As soon as you start going faster, you need better parts. As soon as you put bigger, heavier components on these, you're just transferring that 35-inch weighted tire to other failures in your drivetrain and everything else. So it's kind of like peeling back the layers of the onion. Is it necessarily the right move? I don't think so, but I think that's the direction of the industry. I know for a fact there's several tire manufacturers out there that are in production to specifically build 35-inch tires for side-by-sides. Do I think they're needed for KOH? Yeah. Absolutely, because you get the ground clearance over the rocks. Could they be competitive in desert? Yes, but when you're talking power to weight ratio, you're talking, the stress on the other components in the drivetrain from a 35, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, if we're putting it in a more of a general consumer class, a 32 is completely fine. And a 30 even works well. There's a lot of race organizations like in the UTV World Championship that in the short course class, you can only run a 30-inch tire. So you can get a 30-inch 8-ply tire, and it will work completely fine for any general trail riding scenario, man. Then they work awesome too. And the less rolling resistance you have, the more power you have too. So one of the things I was going to say is that when we got into these comments here is you have a fantastic team behind you. One of the guys that I got to meet is your co-driver, Evan Weller. He also does some race prep on the vehicles, right?
Yeah, Evan, like I said, Evan's been with me for over 4 years now. He not only is our crew chief that manages the prep on all of our race cars and pre-runners, but he's also my navigator too. So he has the stress of sitting in the right seat and hearing all the creaks and noises and mentally
all the stuff that he's worked on for months.
Yeah, overwhelmed. And I say that because we don't have a lot of mechanical failures, but sometimes late in a race when you're exhausted, the car starts making weird sounds that you're inventing in your head.
Yeah, dude. And for somebody like him, because he's pretty OCD about keeping track of the truck, so I can only imagine.
Exactly. So definitely, Evan and his entire crew up there. Jeffrey's the lead on all of our talent prep, does a great job. Dylan Keynes in my shop does a fantastic job, shop manager. And then, I've got Adam that runs all of our media and content and, our whole team, they work tirelessly. They're passionate about this, but they work tirelessly. Long hours. It's a lot of work to do what we do, and we're only racing 6-7 times a year.
Yeah, exactly. But you're racing at the highest level of each one of those races. So that leads it perfectly into the next thing is that a lot of these organizations that sponsor the team or help partnership with Honda Offroad is because they see that work ethic and they see the team effort and they see everybody driving for the same success ratio, right? So we just had Ryan from KMC. I mean, he was pumped when he was talking to you. Like, he's really glad to be a part of your program, and now it sounds like Maxis and other guys are too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where we're just as excited to be a part of the KMC family, the Maxis family, all those great companies out there like Baja Designs that support us and have supported us for many seasons now. And, when they show their support to you, it makes us dig deeper as a team and want to really make sure we're providing that value and that support back to.
It makes you dig Tom Brady deep, dude.
Absolutely. I don't know if the Tom Brady deep. The guy's a goat. We can't even touch that.
Dude, for real.
But yeah, it's we feel fortunate to have all those sponsors and partners.
It's pretty cool. You and I have talked about this off air too, and it's really neat to see the longevity and the relationships that you've been able to accrue over the years. Because when you started the desert program with the Ridgeline, it was a small program. You started building it, and now you have the ability to do it in the side-by-side genre. And obviously, the side-by-side market is growing to be a huge market now. It's got to be pretty fulfilling from just a business owner standpoint.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, when you set out to, have that vision that I was talking about, it's rewarding to see it come to fruition.
Dude, I can only imagine the smile on your face if you guys do hit Dakar. That'd be so sick.
Recently it was kind of a surreal experience for me. We did our first in 7 years. We did our first full asset shoot on soggy dry lake bed 2 weeks ago with all of our race vehicles and chase trucks and everything. And that was the first time where I kind of had to step back and pinch myself that, a portion of the vision of what I saw in my head 7 years ago
is coming to fruition.
I mean, it's been 7 long years and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but it was
I know
surreal to kind of just step back and
I know that feeling directly. I'm not even close to the level that you were at, but when I saw we'll call it the factory setup that we had at the short course races, I was so proud of the work that I had done and my team that we had done and all that stuff. I mean, it's got to be pretty fulfilling for you to go to sleep. Well, you got to wake up the next day with other work to do, but it's got to be pretty fulfilling when you look back on it.
Yeah, it is. I'm thinking about it now talking to you, but the reality is,
day-to-day, you don't think about
I
it,
still
yeah.
put my pants on the same way that
Yep.
you do, and I've got a whole mountain of work I got to do tomorrow, and actually I've got more work to do tonight.
Always, it never stops.
Yeah, so I mean, we don't necessarily think of it that way, but we definitely enjoy what we do.
Hey,
and
John, thank you
fortunate.
very much. John said his lips are sealed. John Hubbard said, yeah, we can be bought. Hey, I'll send you over some T-shirts and stuff, John. Just let me know. Both John Hubbard and John Lewis, let me know what you guys want. I'll give you guys some hats or T-shirts. And then running 32s on my Turbo S and plenty. And I don't want to spend the money on getting in crap. I don't break on 35s. Yeah, see.
Yeah, I agree with you, John.
Yeah, I'm right there with you
100%.
too, bud. Yeah. Are there plans to race any other Ultra 4 races this year?
Gosh, got a lot of respect for Dave Cole and Ultra 4. Tony,
What are the other races?
we don't have any other Ultra 4 races on the
But
calendar.
what are they?
I know there's one.
Oh, it's that Reno one,
There's
right?
one in Reno. There's one in Tennessee. Yeah, you
Dang,
Tony
he goes
probably
to
knows.
Tennessee?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
They had a race back in Crandon, Wisconsin. So they're all over the U.S. But right now we don't have Ultra 4 races scheduled for the rest of the year. But we'll be back at KOH next year for sure.
Dude, well, hey, thanks for the kind comment, Caleb. Caleb says, guys, thanks for a great show. As an East Coast boy who is itching to eat some West Coast dirt, hey, man, you got to come out here and eat some West Coast dirt. Now that the Ultra 4 guys are doing short course stuff, I'm sure they're going to have some awesome tracks. If you want to do that, you can always go to KOH like Jeff and his guys did. And obviously, there's always Mexico, dude. You can always go to Mexico.
Yeah. Hey, Caleb, if you're coming out here from the East Coast, look us up, man. We'll take you out for a day in the dirt.
Yeah, he said, oh, yeah, you guys do that, the Utah thing. What did you guys just say? That Kenny come out to do with you guys? Kenny Roczen did?
Yeah. It's called the Talon Takeover, where we invite anyone who owns a Talon to come out and play in the dirt for us for 2.5 days. And
Where's it at?
we cook. And this year we had it in Sand Hollow, Utah, in southern Utah.
Dude, I've always wanted to
Actually,
go there.
last year in October, in the fall. So we're going to have another one this year in the fall. We don't have a destination plan yet, but it'll probably be in either Arizona or southern Utah again.
Dude, count me in for that.
Oh, it's a blast.
Dude, it looks so
we
fun.
didn't tell anyone that Ken Roczen was going to show up because
You kind of can't.
Yeah, we didn't, but he was the guest, kind of a guest appearance for one of our rides, and I think everyone is rather starstruck that he showed up.
That is super cool, man. Well, count me in for the next one. And then, did you guys make tacos? Because if you don't, then I'm out.
Did we make tacos, Adam?
Hey, I'll settle for a hamburger, dude. I want to go have some fun
We'll
with you
make
guys.
tacos, dude. Carne asada is easy. We
Awesome.
spend so much time in Mexico, we feel like we really know the
Hey,
the recipe.
easy, dude. Tacos are life over here, buddy. Okay, cool. So, yeah, and let's see here. Jeez, man. Moab and Mexico are next for the Ultra 4 stuff.
Oh, God.
So they
Thanks,
go to
Tony.
Mexico, too? That's crazy. We'll stay quiet for tacos. Hard to talk when your mouth is full, right? Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at, John. Yeah, sweet, and thanks for the awesome show. Great info, and both of you guys are great inspirations. Well, hey, man, we don't generally go out and try to inspire people, but thank you very much, Tony. We really appreciate it, man. I'll be riding in Phoenix, West Valley Friday, getting oh, rad. Hey, John, let's go eat some tacos, dude. I'll be in Phoenix on Friday as well. So, okay.
There you go. You got a taco date.
Yeah, exactly. So I only have already 4 set up, so we're just gonna have to just smoke some tacos next week. So
Is that what you're doing with this show? Is you're doing
Trying to
it
get
for
free
tacos?
tacos, yeah,
I
that's it.
knew that. I knew that.
Yeah, we're not trying to talk off road, dude. It's all about me getting tacos. Hey, so is there anybody else that you want to thank before we get into rapid fire Q&A? Because you got a lot of people that are supporting you, and it's obvious in the comments as well.
Gosh, I mean, obviously we couldn't do this without the support of fans and everybody that supports us online and watches our videos and
All you badass talent owners.
shows their love. So thanks for supporting the sport that we love and we're passionate about. Again, I like I said, I can't do this without the support of my entire team, everybody in my office, from my office manager to social media to everybody in the shop and the prep. And gosh, we've got such a great team, and we just couldn't do this without them. So
Hey, maybe what we should do then is I'll text message Adam a little bit later, and I'll see maybe he can give away a T-shirt and a hat to some of our fans, and
Absolutely.
we can get one of
Let's do
them on board. Yeah, that'd be
a
super
swag
cool.
pack.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
And then lastly, obviously we couldn't race at the level that we race without the support of American Honda and Honda Power Sports and the Talon 1000R and the Ridgeline out there. New Ridgelines hitting showroom floors in February. It's all new design,
Dude,
cool looking front end. You've seen the grill on our on our truck. So
Dude, the whole truck, like I love the way that the body lines flow, man. It looks sweet.
Yep.
And those 40s look pretty cool too.
And then, of course, KMC Wheels, been a supporter from day one, and Baja Designs Lights, and Steel It Coatings. They coat all of our chassis and all of our hard parts. Just couldn't do it without those guys.
All right, man. Well, and we really appreciate everybody watching too. So the Dirt Life wouldn't be the same without all you guys. So I'm glad we share some of the same sponsors too. So you ready for this rapid fire Q&A?
Yeah. What do I need to do?
All you got to do.
Yes or no?
Oh yeah, but you got to answer in less than 5 seconds. So.
Okay. All right.
All right. First question is, Jeff.
Can I pass?
Nope. No
I
passes.
can't pass on anything.
No passes, and none of them are going to get you in trouble. So
I feel like I'm in the hot seat.
dude, you are in the hot seat, man. Just pretend like there's somebody on the other side of the wall that you're not that you can't see.
Okay.
All right, dunes or the river?
River.
River. You're going river. Wait, okay, so you can take as much time you want for this portion of the question. What are you driving at the river then? Like, are you driving a boat, a jet ski? Are you skiing? Like, what are you up to?
Ooh, I do like the slalom ski.
Really?
I like the slalom ski.
Like hauling ass slalom skiing, or just like kind of cruising?
No, like elbow dipping.
Really? Dude, that's crazy, man. All right, 3-wheeler or quad?
Ooh, 3-wheeler, just for fun.
Oh, you're going death machine?
Yeah.
Like what kind of 3-wheeler? 250R, 200X?
Yeah, 250R.
250R.
The old school.
The old school
They
one?
used to race at Mickey Thompson.
All right, I'm going to give you 2 questions, actually, because this one says Cinderella or Osborne.
Oh, Cinderella, hands
You're going
down.
Cinderella?
How can you not love that guy's personality? I love when they put a microphone in front of him. He's just
Dude, he's on point.
He's just dynamic, and he articulates well.
It's funny that you say
Gotta
that
love
because
that guy.
every time I have a show, at the end of the show, I go, dude, I did so shitty compared to what Adam would have done.
Oh gosh, the guy is a genius in front of the camera.
He really is.
And there's nothing that bothers me more when those Supercross guys get up after the race and they're just like robots.
Oh my God.
I like to thank Thor, Alpine Star, and they're like reading off of their mechanics
Pit board.
pit board.
Yeah, it's so sucky. All right,
It's like, be real. We want to know the real you.
Roczen or Webb?
Oh, hands down, Roczen.
All right. Oh, dude, we love us some Kenny Roczen. Dude, we're just blowing Kenny all night, man. Little Smokies or pizza rolls?
Little Smokies all day long.
Dude, okay, good. We finally got somebody to go Little Smokies. That's awesome because most people are picking pizza rolls,
Really?
just burning the shit out of the top of their mouth.
No,
dude.
I love hot dogs.
Coffee or tea?
Ooh, neither.
You going neither?
Yeah, I don't drink coffee.
What about just water?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
water.
fun fact, I've never tasted coffee in my life.
Yeah, I don't. It tastes like dirt. I don't know what these people think.
Dude,
They're just addicted to the caffeine or something.
My dad loves him some coffee, but I can get down with tea. What's your favorite soda? You don't probably drink soda. Huh?
I don't drink a lot of soda, but when I do, it'd be a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, you going Dr. Pepper? I had, when I was at the hospital, I asked that question to some of the nurses, and one said Cactus Cooler, and I was like, this is, dude, she's the nurse of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Cactus Cooler's OG.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Cure cancer.
You're going full, like, philanthropic?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And I haven't had any family members that have passed from cancer, but I know it just plagues a lot of people.
Yeah, dude. That's a really good answer. Now I feel like a dick because I was going to say like flying or something. Dude, okay. Well, that's a good one. So the next guest, they got to step up their game, man. Uggs or Crocs?
Oh, gosh. Uggs all the way.
You're going Uggs all day?
Don't ever get caught in public wearing Crocs.
Hey, man.
With socks, too.
With socks, that's horrible, right? My dad's a big fan of Crocs.
Unless you're a nurse.
Yeah, unless you're a nurse. My dad's a big fan of Crocs, and I make fun of him all the time, too. So.
Well, I like your dad, so don't tell him I said that.
Yeah, love you, Dad. Most memorable race?
The 50th anniversary of the Baja 500.
That wasn't, the 1000. Which one was the one that had all the rain? It was all jagged.
That was the 1000 in 2019.
So the 50th anniversary of the 500.
It was 18.
Why was it the most memorable race?
It was a come from behind victory. We were down by 20 minutes and came from behind and won in the last like 20 miles of the race. And it was just
it was one of those zone races.
Yeah, it was one of those races where, we had a lot of chips stacked against us, and we just kept overcoming and found ourselves victorious at the end when we least expected it.
That is so cool, man. I love hearing those stories, man. Maybe one of these days, definitely want to have you back on the show because I'd like to get a little bit more personal with you and kind of see where you came from. Obviously what was your passion in motorsports and stuff coming up. So I want to definitely get into some of those memorable races and actually detail it. But for now, What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh, cookies and cream.
You're going cookies and cream?
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Baskin Robbins cookies. Oh, actually, no. Thrifty, if I can find it, and then Baskin Robbins.
What is this? Thrifty like some sort of like can never find it? Like
Thrifty's hard to find these
needle
days.
in a haystack?
Yeah, Thrifty's hard to find.
What? I don't even know what Thrifty is. It's like
Really?
the Ben and Jerry's kind of stuff?
No. This is like old school. I'm dating myself.
Is
like
Thrifty a store or is it like a brand?
So Thrifty ice cream was found in like pharmacies, I think, when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
And I used to ride my bike to the store down the street from where I lived and get an ice cream cone for 35 cents.
Now we know why it's your favorite because it takes you back.
Yeah.
Dude, that's perfect. We had John comment back in. He said, good luck to the Honda team racing. Coming from Minnesota and being a guy in Minnesota, you know where my manufacturer loyalty is. Hey, you own a Polaris, though, buddy. Love the show, George. So, yeah, thanks, John. I really appreciate it. Here we go, John.
Yes,
John, Thrifty was a drugstore.
See, I told you.
Yeah. So we got to find some for you. Hey, so if you ever want to know how to get into Honda Talent or maybe get like a free T-shirt or something, find a Thrifty and send Jeff some ice cream.
That's right.
Dogs or cats? Well, I think we might know.
My dog's on the show tonight. She's been a little irritating. But
She's a little frisky.
yeah,
She's having a good time, though. She's chilling now. Netflix or YouTube?
Oh, YouTube.
You're going YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, so this actually is a good transition comment for Bryant Lambert is letting us use this studio.
Yep.
To have the show tonight, which is a fantastic place, by the way. He does all kinds of photo shoots and things like that here. You suggested that he do a show with us and talk about marketing and content and stuff like that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, Bryant, we've been working with Bryant for 2 seasons now, and the guy's been around the industry for a long time and just extremely knowledgeable, not only from behind the camera and editing and putting together the content that our partners really want to see, but just kind of understanding the scope of where the industry's going.
Yeah.
And he knows how to get the right shots. Our sport is really tough to shoot.
Yeah.
And you can't just come with camera knowledge and shoot our sport. You've got to know our sport to shoot
absolutely.
it. And he has that. And I think he's just really valuable to interview and talk to. He's a very bright-minded person in the industry.
And he's such a super cool dude. Yeah. So, all right, burrito or taco?
Oh, burrito all day long.
Burrito? What kind?
Just
California burrito?
No, just standard bean and cheese.
Dude, I almost got one of those today. So, let's see. What's the next one? Supercross or motocross?
Ooh.
I know. This one's hard for me, too.
That one's hard. So,
all right.
Supercross from like a fan perspective, but there's no substitute for like the OG, like hang it out moto.
If you had your choice to get on your dirt bike tomorrow, which you don't, you have to go to work, but if you had your choice to get on your dirt bike tomorrow, would you rather go to a supercross track or a motocross track?
Oh, I'd for sure go to a motocross track.
Yeah, same here. I just always love motocross, man.
Yeah,
I just think it's so much fun. What other form of racing would you like to try? And before you answer that question, this can be anything. This could be powerboat racing. This could be tricycle racing. This could be monster trucks. But what form of racing would you like to do? Even freaking helicopters.
Yeah. What form of racing? Gosh, I'd say it has to be road racing. I'd love to race in IMSA. Mm-hmm. The 24 hours of Daytona, the 12 hours of Sebring.
Do you have a favorite car?
Le Mans. Yeah, it'd have to be a Honda or an Acura.
Yeah, well, clearly, but
I'd say that Acura DPI car right now. They just won the 24 hours of Daytona. They're hot right now.
That thing looks.
Oh, fun fact. That car that just won the Daytona 24 hours, the Acura, we share the same engine.
Really?
In the Ridgeline.
Dude, that's super cool.
It's called a 3.5 liter twin turbo. No, it's a 3.5 TT is what they call it.
So do they run a lot of the same components then?
Almost identical. We're even running an IMSA restrictor plate on our engine.
No way. Yeah. Dude, that's super cool. Hey, behind the scenes right there. It gives you guys a little bit of knowledge on the factory Ridgeline over there. All right, last question of the night, bud. Chips and guacamole or fries and ketchup?
Oh, chips and guacamole all day.
Dude, best friends right there.
Hey, fun fact. I made homemade guacamole yesterday for that
For the ass whooping?
That game that was on,
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. It wasn't motorsports, though.
How was it? Was the guac good?
Dude, the guac was good. It's better than the game.
What'd you put in it? Because I got my custom-made guac, too.
Okay, so here's my custom. So obviously avocado, clove of garlic,
Ooh.
sea salt, diced red onions, diced tomatoes, and here's the kicker. Ready? Pomegranate.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it give it a little bit of like a sweet taste then?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I'm into trying that, man.
Yeah, you get like a little burst of pomegranate in your.
So we've actually
jalapeno too.
Oh, nice. James, give it a little bit, but that sounds so good. So we actually had. I'm glad that you said that because next time I go over to your house, I'm not riding my bicycle, by the way. But next time I go over to your house,
I've been told you're not allowed to ride bikes with me anymore.
I know, right? No, I definitely want to go on another ride with you. Actually, Ryan Gaitis wants to go on a ride as well. So, but we had a guacamole. I don't know what you want to call it, a competition, but we all brought our own guacamole and everybody got to pick their favorite. So it was pretty fun.
Awesome.
It was super cool because then you get to taste the whole variety because mine's a little bit different than yours.
Love
But
guac.
all right, man. Well, I really appreciate it. We're already 2.5 hours into the show, so I think that's enough for tonight. We really appreciate everybody joining us. Daytona Prototypes is what John's going to race. I really appreciate everybody joining us tonight. We had a great time talking with Jeff about the Honda program. One of these days, like I said, we're going to have Jeff on the show to get a little bit more background on him, and maybe we can get into the reason why he's in off-road now. It'll be pretty cool to see what everybody's life takes them to be at the point they are at now. Just like mine, hosting this show, and Jeff operating a fantastic team. We really appreciate him coming in and hanging out with us. So thanks
for having me, George.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you very much to all of our sponsors. Thank you to the guys at KMC Wheels, like Ryan, that just called in and had a great time talking with him. Thank you to Ryan Gaitis over at EFX Tires for supporting the show. We really appreciate him. Thanks, Justin, and all the guys over at Shock Therapy. You can use the code DIRTLIFE at shocktherapist.com to save a whole bunch of money on any parts that they have, and you can give them a call and schedule an appointment to get all of your suspension done and ride improvement systems and things like that, and tell them that Dirt Life sent you. Save a whole bunch of money. Thank you to the guys at Cryo Heat for just being an awesome company, man. You have to check them out, Jeff, and see what kind of stuff that they can do for improving the talents. And thank you to the guys at Zollinger Racing Products, man. Use the code DIRTLIFE over there at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. Build some awesome stuff. The J Sports stuff, man.
And awesome. Thank you to the guys at J Sports Side by Side. They make awesome components for Honda talents.
They really do. Some of this stuff is phenomenal. It's just cool to see where the side-by-side market has come. Like, none of this stuff existed 5 years ago, dude. No. It's bitching. And thank you guys. Thank to the guys over at Solderweld. We really appreciate them as well. Solderweld.com. Use the code DIRTLIFE. You can save a whole bunch of money over there, too. And most of all, thank you very much to every single one of you guys for listening to the show, commenting in, joining us. You can always check us out in the archives on iTunes and Spotify and all the podcast networks. You feel free to send any of your comments in to at Honda Offroad Racing on Instagram. You can send it to us at the Dirt Life Show. And we'll be happy to answer all the questions for you. If you got questions on your Honda talent, please feel free to go to HondaOffroad.com, I think it is, right. And send them a message, especially if you want some of that race support, because that's a phenomenal program to be a part of. So, again, thank you guys very much for listening. We really appreciate it, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate your fan support and listening to the show. Thank you, George, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We'll have you back again. All right. Well, like I said, thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it. Next time we'll see you next Monday we will see you in the Lake Elsinore studio, IMG Motorsports, with Alex Streiler. He's motorsports marketing and sponsorship guru. He actually did all the work for Lucas and acquired all their sponsorships for their racing divisions and racing series. He's just a phenomenal wealth of knowledge, and he's doing his own thing now that he can help you. So tune in next week, and you'll get a lot of information from him. And who knows, maybe we'll even get a little bit of information on what's going on with the Lucas Short Course Series. So thank you guys very much. We love you. See you next week.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show.